The following program is a collection of stooges talking about happenings in the sports world. It is meant to be comedic informative. The opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect the beliefs of their peers, their boss, or ESPN. There may be some cuss words because that's how humans in the real world talk. If you are young, please seek permission before watching any further.
Hey.
Why?
Let's go.
This show stinks, and the fact that you listen, we are very, very thankful for.
McAfee on the line with a gorgeous assist.
The all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers.
You pig!
Stop! Damn it! Your friend tell a friend something nice could change their life. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to our humble abode, the Thunderdome, on this Super Bowl Overreaction Monday, February 10th, 2025. This program starts now.
Football!
It's amazing, and yesterday we celebrated the hell out of that in a blowout game that saw us crown brand new world champions, the Philadelphia Eagles. Hey. The commercials were obviously a part of the discussion. The blowout was obviously a massive piece of it. And now people are wondering if there is a GOAT in sight for the Kansas City Chiefs. It's gotten loud on the internet with how big of a blowout that particular game was. A lot of people taking a lot of shots at the Kansas City Chiefs. A lot of people have been waiting for this moment to bury the Kansas City Chiefs. What we'd like to say to Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Chris Jones, and the boys over there, hey, congrats on a hell of a year. AFC champions still yet again. I think they've been to 6 out of the last 7 Super Bowls or something like that. Damn. What you're talking about in Kansas City is absolutely iconic. It is absurd. And we assume they'll rebuild and be back next year in the same exact conversation. With that being said, Philadelphia hoisting the Lombardi is an absolutely beautiful thing. Coach Sirianni, who was questioned all year, was able to rally the boys. Jalen Hurts, who can't throw, threw it all over the yard. Saquon Barkley, who was a New York Giant. I learned about his story a little bit during the Fox lead-up coverage. Hey, Fox did a great job, I thought.
Without doubt.
Fox did a great job with the lead-in coverage. It's like 5 hours, different pieces, different stories, different superstars, a lot of this, a lot of that. I mean, Gronk interviewing Travis Kelce, brilliant. Tom Brady interviewing Patrick Mahomes, brilliant. Them having all the pieces that they have there, beautiful. I thought Fox did a great job in the coverage leading up, but I also learned a lot about Saquon in high school. Whenever I think he went to Zephyr or something like that, I believe was the name, Zephyr. Don't know if that was the school or the name of the team, so apologize for that. But when he was a sophomore, he was too small, they said. He was too small whenever he was a sophomore in high school. Then he put him on the field first play, gone. And all of a sudden the head coach said, I should have been playing this guy a little bit earlier. And then that's all she wrote, right through high school, right into Penn State, where he was jumping all over people, all over the place. He actually talked about an Oklahoma drill, James Franklin, and I think we all saw it go mega viral, where there's an offensive lineman, a linebacker, and then I believe a safety. And somehow the defense just demolished everybody that was blocking them. And it was Saquon Barkley versus 4 defenders with his teams all around him in like a 5-yard radius space. Saquon, boom, shakes the entirety, scores, and while he's scoring, he jumps through the end zone. His entire team goes crazy. He has always been beloved by his teammates, always been electrifying. Nobody knew, though, if you could ride a running back in a run game in 2025 to a Super Bowl. They did. They absolutely did. Now, his worst game obviously comes in a Super Bowl because the defense was 100% focused on him. They weren't going to let him sneeze without being the first ones to say, God bless you, we hate you. He was all over the place all season. Last night he was contained, but that opened up for everybody else. And what Jalen Hurts was able to do with that offense was beautiful. To the tune of 40-plus points in the Super Bowl? Are you kidding me? Obviously, Dotson catches the dot here, which leads to the tush-push party. First points, first score, Jalen Hurts, touchdown. A lot of people thought that. Gabe Morency gave it to us plus 450 on Friday as one of his guarantees to happen, but a lot of people were betting on that. And what happened after that would be an onslaught of domination from this Philadelphia Eagles offense with A.J. Brown getting in, Devontae Smith getting into the action, Goddard got into it, and this guy, Jake Elliott, the kicker for the Philadelphia Eagles, had a rough year. By far his roughest year since he's come into the NFL. But when the playoffs started, he goes back to being playoff Jake Elliott and goes absolutely apeshit, pured every single kick. Then the exciting lights showed up in New Orleans in the second quarter where a rookie on his birthday, a Caucasoid named Bradley Cooper DeJean, has a pick six against Patrick Mahomes in his first ever year in the NFL and his first ever Super Bowl in the NFL. I mean, this guy living an absolute dream yesterday. And from one thing to the next, Patrick Mahomes was out of sorts because this Eagles defense went bananas. They went absolute ape shit. And there's Zach Bond, potential defensive player of the year back in New Orleans. When he played for the Saints, he was just a special teams guy. Now he's an absolute megastar for the Philadelphia Eagles. What we saw last night was an ass beating, a drumming. It was something that the Chiefs had no answer for, and even the biggest Chiefs fans had to give up hope in that third quarter. You know, Patrick Mahomes could potentially make magic happen out of nowhere. That's part of his greatness. Travis Kelce can get open against anybody except for this Kansas City Chiefs team. They had 6 eyes on Travis Kelce damn near all the time, and somehow they weren't able to get anybody else open. Somehow they weren't able to really go until late in the fourth quarter. I think they had a total of 60 yards going into the third quarter after it all was said and done. So what the Eagles defense did to a Kansas City Chiefs team that we thought was still going to be in it, they're down 20+. We still think Patrick Mahomes is going to do his thing. Smothered, ended. Jalen Hurts continued to make massive plays, and the Philadelphia Eagles now are world champions once again.
Hell yeah.
It was a hell of a year. Let's go to the talking table at Boston Connor and at Ty Schmidt. What kind of stood out to you last night, Con, man?
I think it was just the presence of Saquon, really. Like that last touchdown we just showed Devontae Smith play action. You know, we've talked about it, the alumni section, middle of the field. They get a massive fourth down stop. First thing you do, hey, we're going to hand it to Saquon. He's our bell cow. You get all those linebackers sucked up, boom. And then boom, touchdown. And that kind of was all she wrote. There were multiple times where I thought, hey, the Chiefs might go, the Chiefs might go. That was kind of it. But Saquon's just presence, really. You know, of course, he had, less than 60 rush yards. He had 40 receiving yards, so still getting involved. But just his entire story, you know, kind of almost got disrespected with some of the offers. You can't pay this guy $13 million. Yeah, you can, because he fulfilled it probably better than anyone in the history of running backs with a brand new team. Just an incredible story for him. From Philly, a PA guy, you know, goes to Penn State, then wins it for the Eagles. It was just incredible, and the running back position is all the way back.
Yeah, I think so, especially if you got a super talent like Saquon Barkley. And the thing that adds to that story is he had 2 other offers that were bigger from somewhere else. 2 other teams had bigger offers to Saquon Barkley to come be their running back, and he picked the Philadelphia Eagles because of the offensive line, because of the setup, and because of the proximity to his home. I mean, I love whenever something works out how it's supposed to, and I think exactly how Saquon Barkley drew it up was exactly how this motherfucker worked out. He ends the season as the all-time leading rusher in a season, has the most amount of yards that any running back has ever had in a season. Now, that obviously adds in the playoffs, but those are the most important games. So he has the best season a running back has ever had back in his hometown team that is in the division of the team that said, I don't think we could pay you that amount of money, and he wins the Super Bowl. Congrats to Saquon. You're right.
I mean, 3 touchdowns in the NFC Championship game. So, like, people who are, you know, he was the favorite. He was minus 190 to score a touchdown yesterday. Obviously didn't get in, but like he got him there.
And
you know? He had some pretty cool highlights.
He did have some cool highlights.
Put that in Madden, even though Madden still stinks.
Speaking about I don't know.
I played it yesterday. I was like, you know what? It's 2:00. Super Bowl's coming on. I might as well play
the game.
The game. You know, I might as well see what's going to happen. Yeah, it still stinks.
Okay. Well, hopefully they'll get that fixed out sometime. That's been a while. They've been figuring it out, right?
Yeah, they've been on their way.
They hear the fans. They hear them. We hear what you guys are saying. We're going to get it fixed.
And they appreciate the fans.
They do.
Yes, they do.
It's you who we work hard every single day for, says Madden. Hopefully they get that worked out.
Down the road.
Hopefully they get that fixed out. But nonetheless, let's go to a quarterback now that will be a world champion forever, Ty Schmidt.
Yeah, it's very tough not to be impressed with Jalen Hurts leading up into the week. And it wasn't just AQ who was saying, hey, they can't beat these guys regardless of how good their offensive line is. It's because of Jalen Hurts. Hembo put a stat out this morning of all quarterbacks who have played in at least 2 Super Bowls. He's the only one whose completion percentage is over 70%. So I think he takes a lot of heat just for people being like, all he's going to do is try to run. Like, he can throw. You know, like Jalen Hurts actually can throw the football. And a lot of people don't like him. I don't know if it's his personality. I don't know if it's the way he carries himself or what, but like, he just, you know, I mean, we talk about other people for the Eagles getting kind of shit on all season and, you know, just crucified pretty much. Like, he was right there, and you look at his stats, and it's kind of weird. It's like, man, it almost doesn't add up, you know? I mean, but a lot of people said, hey, if they lose this game, it's because Jalen Hurts couldn't get it done. he does not, hold a candle to Patrick Mahomes in terms of the comparison between those two. He did whatever he wanted to, and every single time he had a rush lane, he took it, and they didn't. They just had no answer for him. So, and we talked about the stat too. Any Super Bowl rematches, the quarterback who won the first matchup had been undefeated. He's the first guy to actually go in there and beat the team that beat him the first time. So hats off to him. I mean, I think people forget, too, he's only 26 years old. Like, the Eagles are set up for a really long time now. And then outside of him, I'd just be remiss if I didn't say how proud and just how much pride I have in the fact that an Iowa guy, Cooper DeJean, because I felt it all week. I really did. I said, this guy's going to score a defensive touchdown. He was a ball hawk, like playmaker at Iowa. He hadn't had a turnover all year. And for him to get a pick six on his birthday in the Super Bowl as a rookie, like, it's an exciting white.
Yeah,
that certainly doesn't hurt. But, like, that dude's an Iowa legend. The same vein like Kurt Warner. He didn't go to Iowa, but you get it. It's like people will talk about him forever, and kids are going to grow up wanting to be Cooper DeJean. Like, it's just, as an Iowan, that's really sweet.
Yeah, that is sweet. And shout out to Cooper having a mega football moment that he can cherish literally forever and sign autographs for forever as a rookie.
Yeah.
So to say it's been a successful run, I'd say yes for Cooper DeJean in that entire Philadelphia Eagles defense. 9-year NFL vet. Darius J. Butler.
Yes, sir.
What was your big takeaway from last night?
I mean, obviously you got to start with the quarterback, so just kind of piggybacking off of what you said. Jalen Hurts is really the reason I became an Eagles fan, just because of everything he's done, not only from the college level, but since coming into the NFL. But even though he said it, defense wins championships, and that's still always the case. Vic Fangio's been in the league a long, long time. His first year was actually the year I was born, 1986.
Wow.
He was coaching the linebackers out on the Saints. The Dome Patrol, Ricky Jackson, a Pahokee legend, Hall of Famer, Sam Mills, those guys. He was a linebacker coach there and has been a defensive coordinator over 20 years in the National Football League now. Was 0-8 before this game against Patrick Mahomes. And just coming into this game, you know what Vic Fangio, Brady mentioned it a couple of times on the broadcast. He's going to play an umbrella defense, a cover 4 shell. He's going to rally his defense, going to tackle, and he's going to get after you with 4 pass rushers. And these pass rushers absolutely dominated the game from the beginning. Milton Williams was a superstar, had 2 sacks, a strip sack late in the game. Josh Rett was great. He had a couple sacks. Cooper DeJean, you mentioned the pick 6, obviously putting points on the board. Zach Bond had a pick deep into their territory, setting up for points as well. So coming to this game, you knew the ball was going to be key, taking care of the ball and taking away the ball. They obviously won that battle there. The first 9 possessions, the Chiefs didn't pass midfield. So you're talking about an Andy Reid, a Patrick Mahomes led Chiefs offense that couldn't get past midfield. One of the most dominant performances I've ever seen in the Super Bowl. So just hats off to this Philadelphia Eagles team and this defense specifically.
Matt Patricia last week, whenever he stopped by the program, he said, you go out through the history of the Super Bowl or the NFL.
Yeah.
Any team that has the number 1 defense and the number 1 rushing offense wins the Super Bowl. That's just that is literally a recipe that has been entrenched in football since the beginning. If you can run the football, guess what you can do? You keep the other team off the field.
Yep.
And if you have good defense, guess what that means? 3 and out. They're off the field even less. So whenever you talk about just strictly this being a possession territory sport, whenever your defense is able to dominate the other team and hold all ground, and whenever your offense is able to just matriculate and methodically take your land, I mean, that's a winning recipe since the beginning of time in football. And I love the fact, and, I tweeted this last night. I love the fact that in 2025, a lot of things can be said about everything that has kind of happened over the last 10 years in our existence. Okay, a lot of things. In football, you're always going to have to be tough.
Yeah.
Like, that is just how the sport requires it. Now, there's going to be some positions where less of it is required. For instance, I was a punter. Don't have to be as tough. Kickers don't have to be as tough. Long snappers, kind of getting targeted last night. Don't love that.
A little bit.
Don't love that that's probably his motion every single snap. And they called it probably don't have to be as tough. Still have to take hits, have to be tougher than a modern human, but don't have to be as tough. But in football, you got to be tough. At some point, you're going to take a massive shot, and you're going to be expected to get right back up. And the fact that the Philadelphia Eagles pride themselves on being dogs.
Yep.
Like, that's what Nick Sirianni says, we're dogs over here. What does dogs mean? Well, dogs probably means they're going to be mentally and physically tough. Like, that is what a dog mentality is. That is what Coach Sirianni has been just pressing out to the world and also to his players and to Howie, as Howie has pieced this team together in a fantastic way. Truly an epic performance by Howie Roseman building this team back up. A few years back they win the Super Bowl. They get rid of everybody. They get rid of everybody, basically. He has to rebuild this thing. New quarterback, new coach, new team, new vibes in the city. Everybody's expecting now championship because we already won it, and that's Philadelphia in a whole. We don't have time for transition era. We don't have time for turnover. How are you going to do it? Well, he somehow managed to keep an identity. We're going to be a tough football team. Finding dogs in free agency, in the draft, hitting home runs in the draft on a very regular basis whenever he's paying people or bringing people in. They need to fit our culture. Everybody needs to be rowing the same direction, which Sirianni will kind of take care of. But also, we're going to bring in superstars. By far the best roster we've seen in the NFL in a long time. You know, in college, there's no cap. Well, yet.
Sure.
Allegedly, a cap is coming. Allegedly.
Yeah.
But in college, there's no cap. You can pay whoever, whatever. So the teams that paid the most, you saw them in the end of the college football playoff. I mean, it's not just them either. It was other teams, but like whoever paid the most, because you get the most amount of studs, your team's probably going to be better than the other team. Now, I'm not saying studs always win, but if you get a bunch of studs and they buy in, that team's probably going to beat a team that doesn't have studs and buys it. But now, granted, I think teams can overperform with how much of a team they are. You get it. It's certainly a team sport. But if you have a team filled with dudes that are making a shit ton of money because they're good at sports, you're probably having a better opportunity to win, which is why whenever 31 other teams' fan bases go, pay them, get them, pay them, get them, pay them, get them, and your teams always say, we can't because it's a salary cap. Can't do that. Can't pay this guy and also pay this guy. Howie's paid everybody. Everybody on their team. 3 of their offensive linemen are in the top 11 pays around the entire NFL. 3 of them. That's just on the offensive line. Let alone a quarterback, 2 wide receivers, running back, and then on the defensive side having to do the same damn thing. Whenever you talk about putting together a roster, managing egos, managing expectations, you name it, what Howie Roseman and Sirianni have done over there with obviously Jeff Lurie at the top and Big Dahn paisaning through the entirety of it all.
Everywhere.
It's like, congratulations to them, too. Yeah. Congratulations. I hope they're enjoying the hell. I hope they are literally, you know, you reap what you sow and all that type of stuff. I hope they're enjoying what the hell they sowed. That's not easy to do, especially in the world that we're in. So congratulations to Howie putting a great team together. And on paper, going into the game, everybody with a brain was like, this Eagles team.
They're a lot better.
You know? Like whenever they do ranking for college football, they always look at the roster, and it's like, well, this roster has this many 5 stars. It has to be better than this roster. And, you know, it's hard not to get caught up in that in college ball because you never know who's going to show up week to week. But in the NFL, it's like this roster is healthy, and this roster is loaded everywhere. They're in the Super Bowl. Let's assume they like each other. Okay, let's assume they like each other at this point, which is what a team has to have to be great. Have to have chemistry. Have to, amongst the people you play with, if you want to make it to the Super Bowl. So it's like on roster, on paper, it was like this team's going to win. This team right here has to win. This team might beat the shit out of this other team.
The blowout question you asked on Friday.
Yeah, so we literally had that conversation. We said, do we think the Chiefs could blow out the Philadelphia Eagles? No. Do we think Philadelphia Eagles could blow out the Chiefs?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody said yes. I think AJ actually brought it up. He'll be joining us here in a matter of moments. It's like, it was certainly possible. We just thought the Chiefs magic. Like literally, that's if you were betting on the Chiefs, you were only thinking of the Chiefs magic and the Patrick Mahomes magic. And there was a couple moments where you're like, whoa, and then all of a sudden the Eagles D-line just said, nope, we ain't doing that shit. That ain't how we playing. A drop by D-Hop here. Obviously, Travis Kelce not getting targeted as much. They consider that one a drop. Was that his ankle?
Tough.
I don't know if 22-year-old Travis would have been able to get down to that, but nonetheless, he never got going. Just didn't look like the Chiefs that we thought could potentially make magic and get a win. So insane run by them, but what a team by the Eagles. Now, let's go to one half of the hammer.
Dahn.
Cowboys AP tone. How'd the bets fall out from last night?
The bets fell out well for the public as far as the game was concerned. Obviously, everyone's hearts and souls wanted the Eagles to win, and they bet like that. Over 60% of the bets were on the Eagles. And boy, it was like the wet bandits. It was a soak all night long from the first kick to the final whistle. It was Eagles all night. There was never a worry in the world. The top 5 bets that were registered in the U.S., ranging from $400,000 to $1 million, were all on the Eagles. So those all did very well as well. Now the public got crushed a little bit in the prop market. Saquon over did not hit. Mahomes over rushing attempts did not hit. Goddard over did not hit. Kelce over did not hit. But as far as the game was concerned, everyone was on the Eagles, and that was a soak, my friend.
Okay, so let's talk about your bets that you gave out last week, because it felt like I saw a lot of Jalen, a lot of Mahomes running.
Yeah, they went well there. So we had the fourth quarter rushing yards for both quarterbacks. Those both went over. Mahomes had 7. Jalen had 17, and then Kenny came in luckily, so we didn't have to worry about the kneel down. Thank you, Kenny. I appreciate it. Always on your side. Both quarterbacks to complete their first.
Kenny Pickett won Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Kenny Pickett, Super Bowl champion.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Kenny.
Kenny Pickett ended the Super Bowl for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Think about that.
Think about that. Who's doing victory formation? Fucking victory, Kenny Pickett.
That's right.
Super Bowl champion, Kenny Pickett. Congratulations to him, especially with how it all went down in Pittsburgh, the place he went to school. Literally was in the same building at University of Pittsburgh, and then with the Steelers, and then it ends with everybody saying, get him out of here. I don't think he deserved that. Kenny Pickett was always good to us. Congratulations on being a Super Bowl champion, Kenny Pickett. And also him doing the kneel downs didn't take away any rush yards from Jalen, or I'm sorry, from Jalen.
Yeah, KP, congrats. He's a guy you could have a beer with and save that bet. Both quarterbacks to complete their first pass. You know, let's get the drives going. Let's go there. We're good there. We got that one. This wasn't on a graphic, but we had it when Gabe was on. Drew Tranquil, plus 750, leading tackler in the game. That was a nice one there. We talked on Tuesday. We had Goddard, Kelsey, first drive. Those didn't work out. Goddard had one on the second drive, but we also said Worthy. Worthy did have one on the first drive. So it was a nice little week for the gambling on the show.
Hey, great work this year on the gambling. To the hammer, Dahn. Boys, we appreciate you, Gumpy. Good work back there, pal, even though you bet that Chiefs.
Had to do it. Had to ride till the end.
Gumpy just didn't want Vic Fangio over to win a Super Bowl. A lot of Dolphins fans, they're supporting Vic Fangio now. Is that what I'm seeing?
I think they were, and also the guy Javon Holland kicked rocks when we did the video kicking rocks when Vic left and went to the Eagles. He was saying how great he called the game last night, so that was awesome.
Well, he was kicking rocks because he was upset.
Yeah.
He was actually one of the guys that wanted Vic gone. So thanks,
okay.
Javon.
Jeez, allegedly, we were. I mean, probably. I don't know. I did not follow the situation close enough.
Yeah.
All I do know is the Dolphins fans were pumped that Vic Fangio was getting out of there. We were having conversations about, is Vic Fangio about to retire? Is this thing done?
This guy's long in the tooth.
This thing done?
He can retire now.
Super Bowl champ. Guy got it done. You said 1986 he was doing what?
1986 was his first year, his first NFL gig in New Orleans, actually. Where, he got a text from the Dome Patrol, too. He said it was waiting for him in his phone.
That's awesome. How about Jalen Carter, Sweat? What was old buddy, Milton?
Milton Williams.
Yeah, Milton.
He ran a what?
4.61.
Yeah.
Nolan Smith.
300 pounds.
Yeah. Bryce Huff showed up.
Huff,
He
yeah.
made some plays last night. I mean, just that whole, especially in the world of where we get so caught up in exotics and overload blitzes and all these different things. Like Vic Fangio, hey, this is the defense I run. This is how I coach it. This is how it's executed. For everybody over there to buy in and to completely turn around that defense and what they are, who they are, and to put on a performance like this against a quarterback like that, just unbelievable all time.
You think about how the Eagles season ended last year, and then you think about how it ended this year.
Yeah.
Vastly different. Instead of falling off, they picked up.
Yeah.
They played their best ball whenever they needed it. Congrats to the Eagles. Maybe Coach Sirianni isn't a
Big dumb dipshit.
Well, wait a second. Yep. Coach Sirianni is stepping into a press conference right now, actually.
Good afternoon, everybody. First and foremost, I'd like to apologize. I haven't gotten very much sleep last night. I know you may be wondering, Coach, favoring your back big time as you throw it out, celebrating, throwing your hands in the air. No, believe it or not, it does quite a number on your lower back and your whole back in general when you are carrying around 2 massive bowling balls in your jockstrap everywhere you go. That's right. I did it. I believe I came on here not too long ago, told you guys we are the best team in the NFL. We are going to win a Super Bowl title. Did you watch the game last night? You know, we might as well have done an inter-squad scrimmage. I mean, anything we wanted to do, offense, defense, special teams, you name it. We are the best team in the NFL. And I don't want to, kind of take the parade route already, but I knew it all along. Listen, I could say a lot of stuff up here today, but I think first and foremost, boom, Drink that in. Everybody says, hey, go get you one of these. Guess what? Got one of these. Now, granted, this is the Super Bowl ring that I had made 2 years ago when we were in the last Super Bowl. So this is kind of just, this is my Monday ring. I wear this on Mondays after a big win. I will be getting a new one, or a real one, if you will. This is just a placeholder.
Okay.
As far as what everybody said all year, listen, I understand you're a head coach in the National Football League. You're going to get scrutiny from the fans. You're going to get criticism from the fans and the media. If I could respond, I would like to, steal in the bridge line from one of my favorite poets. Curtis Jackson once said, I know I'm here for a real reason because some of these coaches got hit like I got hit, but they ain't fucking breathing. And guess what? Fly, Eagles, fly. Not only are we breathing, we are soaring above the rest. A lot of people talking about my contract going into last year of my contract. Coach, what are you going to do? They wanted to fire you all year. Everybody at ESPN, in the Philly media, all the fans, they wanted you fired. Sorry. Looks like I'm going to be around for a while. And listen, I'm not going to get into public contract negotiations. That's not really my bag. I'll save that for my agent. But if Liam Cohen is making $14 million down in Jacksonville, I want $40 million a year. And, I think I'm entitled to that. Once again, not going to hammer this home. Maybe just a modicum of respect, just an ounce of respect. 48 wins in my first 2 years. Okay, that's the second highest all time in NFL history. Wow. George Seifert was the first. He was pretty good. I don't know, with those 49ers teams. So with that being said, listen, there will be plenty of time for me to go around and kind of drop my nuts on tables, take shots at people who have taken shots at me, do a real victory lap. And I'll be honest, I'm not going to be a gracious winner. I'll probably be a little bit of a dog, a little bit of an asshole. And let's just say I got a memory like an elephant. I remember everything that anybody has ever said about me, going back to, Mount Union and IUP. So if you're an Eagles fan, you didn't love me, you didn't want to see me, get used to it because the dog's coming back, and the dog's going to be in Philly for a long, long time. We got a question, I suppose?
Hey, Coach, this is Jack from the Philly John. What about Kellen Moore potentially leaving your team to go down there in New Orleans Saints?
That's a good question. Listen, I said it last night on the broadcast. A lot of people, another thing to shit on Coach Sirianni about. He uses, colorful language after winning a Super Bowl. I said run that shit back. Okay? I said run that shit back with Kellen. And I said to Brandon Graham on the NFL Network set, run that shit back. Now, he didn't really seem like he wanted to. Kellen Moore, you do what you got to do. You want to go down to New Orleans and go, 3-14 for the next couple of years and get fired? That's fine by me. You go get your bag. We'll welcome you back home in Philly in a couple of years' time after you've been shit canned in New Orleans. I think I got time for one more if anyone's got one.
Yeah, Coach, Dan Orlovsky, ESPN. Of course, I knew you guys were going to do great, and I'm very.
Yeah, I bet you did, Dan. I'm gonna cut you off right there. Now, listen, a lot of people want me to just storm out here, be mad at you. You say, Dan Orlovsky, this guy didn't believe in me all year long. He's calling for my job, actually. Obviously, I told you to tongue my beanbag last week. I would never do something like that again. I kind of looked internally and realized that, that wasn't very gracious. That is not what a man of God would do. What a man of God would do to someone like you in the media who's been calling for his job and saying he's no good is I'd say, Dan, if you wouldn't mind getting down on your knees, popping that mouth open that you love running so much, and smooching the tip of my Lombardi, okay? Enjoy, Dan. Fly, Eagles, fly, baby. Super Bowl champs.
Ho, 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 ho! All right. That's Coach Tariani, obviously. One last score to settle with Dan Orlovsky there. Wow. Let's talk about that trophy, though.
Mm-hmm.
They kissed the top of that Lombardi.
Yep.
He's going to be carrying that thing around. Yeah. Saw Saquon with it last night.
Mm-hmm.
Saw Lane Johnson with it last night.
Yep. Love it.
Jalen on the floor.
Jalen sitting there with a cigar.
Oh,
that was cool.
People are saying that was staged. I don't think it is.
What, the sit-down one?
Mm-hmm.
Well, why would he have those people in the back then?
Bingo.
I don't think he would have those people in
would.
the back.
Yeah, he'd be in the bathroom solo.
I thought about that. There's no real private moments, huh?
It's not even like the locker room. You know, those. I feel like those used to be, you know, kind of sacred almost. I almost feel kind of like violating watching it. But it's 2025. It is what it is. But this picture, we do get some all-time moments. Remember when the Celtics won, when Jason Tatum tried to create a lot of these. But
well, I mean, you know, but exactly, like that's what happens because of like the not having any privacy. So like even if you want to take a moment, it's like, oh, this is staged. He's just doing this for the photo. It happened with the Celtics. It's happening with Jalen now. It's like, no, maybe the guy just wanted to sit. Actually, right after the entire thing, he talked about how like I haven't really, it hasn't really set in for me yet.
Yeah.
Like I'm waiting for it to like set in, and maybe this is the moment. And then immediately, oh, this guy's just setting it up.
If that was literally, if that was a stage photo, I think you would ask for those people to get out of the back.
Vacate,
you know, because that could be a very sick stage photo.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like if we were going to make a stage photo, that would be nasty, especially with the cigar. He's even got the goggles on his neck, you know, because the champagne campaign, you know, the whole entire whatever shower they're giving in there.
Oh,
I mean, that's a
campaign. Did you see the Jordan brand commercial?
Oh yeah, that was sick.
So sick. Love hurt. That was sick.
Yeah, release the Mahomes one.
What?
Whoa.
Well, they have one for both. We all know
He's with
that.
Adidas.
Yeah, so I want to see the Adidas one that they had, all the three.
You know, they ship all the merch out.
Exactly.
We should at least see what the advertising potential was.
We saw what the Falcons Super Bowl shirt looked like.
Yeah.
Well, I think that was custom made. Joining us now, ladies and gentlemen, is a man who's a Super Bowl champion, a college football national champion, a Ryder Cup winner, and the all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers. Ladies and gentlemen, AJ Hawk.
Yeah, Hawker.
Hawker, thank you for joining us early. Did you see Coach Tyriani? Seems like he's going to take a little victory tour. He said, I will not be a gracious winner. Did you take anything else away from that?
That was my favorite part, the fact that he said he will not be a gracious winner. And I think he deserves to have a little bit of a run here in these next couple of weeks where he does not need to be a gracious winner, but he will. We know he's a classy dude. He's not going to take it too far, but he has every right to bask in this celebration. What an unbelievable win by him. And the Eagles won this game. The Chiefs did not lose. The Eagles just came out there and dominated from start to finish.
Agreed in all three phases, and that's his little boy right there. And little boy Pazan actually wrote a handwritten letter that he has, I think, on his desk. And they were reading it during the pregame. I think it was Aaron Andrews. Might have been EA. I forget who did the story. I apologize to if it wasn't EA. But she was talking to Nick Sirianni, and it was the backdrop. You know, they're in a hotel room with the suite up in the top, and it was a pretty nice shot. And she started talking about this letter that's on his desk. It's his kid, handwritten letter like you do at school. And in there, he talks about dog mentality.
Hell yeah.
His kid writes dog mentality.
Love it.
This is what dog mentality means to me, or I hope you always remember to have a dog mentality. And it's in like little kids' handwriting. And just seeing dog mentality written by a child, I like almost got like emotional. I'm like, Coach Sirianni, whenever he was reading that letter, and, you know, his kid's writing him a letter, handwritten letter. That's cool to begin with. I assume in the development stage of watching your kid grow, that's probably a cool thing. Putting together a full message, obviously being able to write it out. Seemed like there was no spelling errors. But then whenever at the bottom, it was like 3/4 of the way down because they showed the thing. It was like dog mentality written out in there. He had to just start breaking down like, I got one. I'm reaching him. You know, I'm reaching my boy. Because I think the way they were explaining it is like dog mentality about how many times you get knocked down, then you get right back up. And how many times you just keep going. It's like, this dude was mocked and ridiculed by everybody.
Yeah.
Eagles fans, we read them every single week.
Yes.
Whenever we do our overreaction tweets, Eagles get a win. Who's pissed at Nick Sirianni? Eagles fans. It's like, and then the TV shows were like, yeah, well, us too, actually. And you got to wonder why. He mentioned to EA about how he's not what you think of when you think of an NFL head coach necessarily. The way he operates and the way he goes about his messaging, or the way he goes about relationship building with the boys, or how he goes about celebrating after a win, maybe in a tunnel talking shit to people, maybe him talking to the fans, interacting with fans. Because remember, this guy used to be a wide receiver, play college ball, so maybe he does have a little pizzazz. So maybe whenever people are talking shit, maybe he does want to interact, which most NFL coaches would never do. Obviously, NFL coaches say, keep the noise out. It's not about what they do. And then Sirianni's like, hey, how about a little credit here? We just won this game on his way out of there. But I think he's always like that. So I think his team loves him. I mean, once again, the wide receivers who've been asked to take a back seat to the running game all year, and they've been paid, both of them. A.J. Brown, Devontae, they've both been paid. They're the ones that are doing the Gatorade bath on Nick Sirianni, the head coach, who inevitably has to sign off on everything that's happening with the team. I think that says a lot about how this guy goes about doing his thing. I think that says a lot about how his team feels about him. And if he's got his kid writing dog mentality when he's 5 or 6 years old, it feels like everybody around him is like, hey, this guy's with us. This guy's loyal to us. This guy will take all the heat for us. And this guy will show up the next day and say, hey, let's go beat the shit out of this team. And he's young. His contract's up. And we heard in Coach Tirianni's press conference there, Liam Cohen allegedly getting $14 million. Ben Johnson getting $13 million. Aaron Glenn probably in that same ballpark with his job just getting hired over there. Mm-hmm. It's like this guy is legend. This guy is amongst the legends of coaching whenever it comes to like winning percentage. Now he's a world champion and his contract's up. It's like good time to be Nick Sirianni's agent. Who's that? I think a guy that knows it. He's Southern, I think. White guy here. He's
college guy?
Isn't it?
He's a refrigerator.
Sure.
You know, I think he's a refrigerator.
I saw him last night.
He was on TV. He was next to Big Dom.
Mm-hmm. He was.
Jimmy Sexton.
Okay.
Ooh. Yeah, he knows the ins and outs of these coaching contracts, I think. And I assume Sirianni wants to remain with the Eagles, obviously. I assume that is his number one goal. And I assume the Eagles would like him. But the Eagles and coaches, interesting.
Very.
Joining us.
It can happen quick, either way.
Statue could be made. And then, we don't think so.
Yeah.
And then, by the way, they win. He's been a place and gone.
Yeah.
Howie's probably just like I fucking said it would.
Pretty good, aren't I?
Joining us now, ladies and gentlemen, senior NFL insider for ESPN, a man who crushed it all season, especially during Super Bowl week. Ladies and gentlemen, Adam Schefter.
Yeah, Shefty.
Gentlemen, what's going on?
Shefty, is that the family there? Is that the actual insider behind you?
Yeah, she's laughing. Yeah. She's fresh off her post-game interviews last night on the field where I was her runner and assisting her and trying to get her whatever interviews I could. It was great. You know, everyone's doing their post-game things. Dylan, get your head out of the...
Hey, Dylan, let us tell you this. Keep your dad as your booker. That job stinks. Let your dad do it. He knows everybody, okay? And congrats on the great work this week, Dylan.
Oh, yeah.
Great job.
No problem. Keep crushing it. Okay, Shefty, we were just talking about it. Sirianni's going into last year of his contract. We assume he won't be a lame duck coach. We assume there'll be an extension done this offseason. First of all, is that all accurate? And second of all, Liam, we just talked about it. All these guys just signed for $13 million a year, which is obviously a big number. This guy's going to get paid the most of all time, or how do you see this going with the Philadelphia Eagles?
No, well, I think what'll happen is they'll sit down to do the deal because Nick Sirianni is headed into the last year of his contract. You never want a head coach headed into the last year of his contract. Ben Johnson got $13 million a year, but not the other rookie coaches. Their other rookie coaches this year didn't get that. I think the pay cycle for those guys was anywhere from $10 to $13 million per coach.
Okay, got it. What about Liam? We heard Liam was like 13 or 14. Is that not accurate? That would be in that same window?
That's not accurate.
Okay.
That's high. He did not beat Ben Johnson. Liam did fantastic and obviously tremendously elevated his salary. But no, Ben Johnson came in the highest of the rookie head coaches. So if you're Nick Sirianni and you've won a Super Bowl and you've got a year left and you're sitting down to talk about your deal, I'm sure the Eagles obviously want to keep that number down, and Nick Sirianni is going to want to drive that number up. I think all of us right now could sit down and figure out what we believe to be a fair number. If Ben Johnson got 13, then Nick Sirianni as a Super Bowl winning head coach is worth more than that, right? So what is the number? Is that going to be 14? Is it going to be 15? I don't think they're going to pay him like the upper echelon coaches. I don't think so. But
why not?
Why not?
You saw that
well, okay. But by the way, that's the job of his agent to argue that.
Yeah, and his agent, Jimmy Sexton, we don't know everything about him, but we know enough. He's going to get a good deal.
Yeah,
and I like for everybody. He does good business. That's why he's able to continue to do business with everybody. But I think he's going to lay out a very easy case if he just used the stats that we have from our show for who and where Sirianni ranks in the history. Now, granted, he understands that Howie's been able to put together a phenomenal roster. Like this team, the players that he is coaching all dogs, but he's the one that's getting all these dogs to bark in the same direction. So I think he has a lot of leverage, he has a lot of power, and hopefully they get a deal done because Philadelphia, with this style of guy being their coach, is awesome. And it's obviously worked.
You know what's funny about that? Number one, I don't know, 2-3 months ago, people were calling for his job when he had some emotional outbursts. Number two, his players love him. His players love him. Like, they believe in the guy. And they, I don't know, ever loved him as much as they do today when he's led them to the Super Bowl title and the players played great and he was the coach. But he's going to get a new deal. They'll redo it, and we'll see where that comes in. But I obviously fully expect it to be north of Ben Johnson.
Okay, hopefully they get that deal done sooner than later. Let's talk about that coaching staff, though, because some things were said last night maybe that make us believe, whoa, maybe not so fast, my friend. Shout out to Lee Corso. Go ahead, AJ.
Yeah, Shefty, what about offensive coordinator Kellen Moore, obviously? Is he just going to stay in New Orleans and take the gig? If he does, how much does he get paid? And is there a possibility that he is back in Philadelphia?
Look, there's always that possibility. I expect him to be the next head coach. And the Saints are going to make sure they do everything here by the book because the last time the Eagles found evidence of the Cardinals tampering, it cost the Cardinals draft pick compensation in the end. And the New Orleans Saints, who have been in the crosshairs of the NFL before, don't want any part of that. So they've gone out of their way to make sure that they're doing everything by the book. But if they were hiring the Dolphins' Anthony Weaver, their defense coordinator, they could have done that. If they were hiring Darren Rizzi as their interim head coach, full-time, they could have done that. If they were hiring Mike Kafka, the Giants' offense, they could have done it. They didn't do any of this. They just waited, and they waited because they intend to hire Kellen Moore, assuming that they can get a new contract done. And again, that should not be a hard deal to do as well. Kellen Moore's making, we'll call it $4 million a year as the Eagles offensive coordinator. I'm not far off. I might be a little high, but I might not be. $4 million. The New Orleans Saints are going to come in and they're going to offer
12.
him, I don't know, I would say 10 or 11. Maybe it comes in at 12. I think it finishes up at 11 as the head coach. Are you going to turn down a raise to go from $4 million a year to $11 million a year? Are you going to let that happen? And by the way, are you going to let that happen a year after Bobby Slowick was one of the hot head coaching candidates for the Houston Texans, and a year later he's fired? Like, when you're being offered a job and you're being offered a raise of roughly $7-8 million a year, you're not turning that down. You're getting that deal done. You're getting that deal done, and I would expect that Kellen Moore is going to get that deal done and become the next head coach of the New Orleans Saints.
I don't want to counter here, but I heard Nick Sirianni say this last night.
Yeah, Vic's been a great coordinator in this league for decades, and he was awesome today. Kellen, you know, let's run this. Let's run this shit back, Kellen. Let's run this back. Congratulations, Coach. Thank you.
Okay, so Sirianni is selling, I bet, behind the scenes on how special it is. But you said Bobby Slowick.
Of course.
Hold on. You said Bobby Slowick, which is certainly fair. I would argue Ben Johnson, though, with the Detroit Lions, where they dominated, took over, changed the offense. Jared Goff went crazy. That offense was the talk of the town in every town in the NFL. He got offered some head coaching jobs. He says, no, I want to go back. Now he's at the Bears making $13 million a year because he's even more highly coveted. So, with that being said, I understand what you're saying about taking the $7 to $8 million right now, but I think everybody on earth knows the Saints job is like 2 years out, right?
At least.
They're saying like the way that looks is like a 2-year out thing. So if Nick Sirianni, and I'm not saying Kellen Moore shouldn't take a $7 to $8 million bump. You do what you got to do for you and your family and your career and what your thoughts are. But in my head, Sirianni has a pretty good sell. Hey, we still got Saquon. We still got Jalen. We still got this offensive line. AJ and Devontae are dumping Gatorade on me. I think we're good there.
Yes.
Vic Fangio is still here. That D-line is young. So, Kellen, you could potentially run up the scoreboard here with the team that we have right now.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's how Sirianni sells that, right?
Oh, yeah, that's definitely how it sells it. Chip just got, six a year. I think he's the highest paid coordinator right now. And obviously it's much easier for us to say it here because we're not getting that $7-8 million raise and then, however 4 or 5 guaranteed. And Coach Sirianni, said, flame out there, you could probably get another OC job there. And I'm sure Shefty has a response for that, though.
Yeah, I'd assume so. There's some other big news that came out this week.
Yeah, I know Sirianni wants to run it back, but it seems as though they are not running it back with Aaron Rodgers up with the Jets. Reports came out about a meeting that happened, and basically left that meeting with the understanding they would not be running it back with Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets. You got any updates in that situation?
Well, listen, I think we got a situation here where you got a new general manager, a new head coach, and when new general managers and new head coaches come in, they typically like to make changes and bring in their own people. There's a reason that a team is in the market for changing its general manager and head coach. And so when that happens, they like to reset the culture and establish their own culture. So I would think that that's a part of this, that the Jets want to go in their own direction and they want to start over. There's no doubt that Aaron Rodgers still can play and still can play at a high level. But the Jets are starting to build this again from the ground up, despite the fact that they've got some good talent on their roster. And so they're not expected to bring back Aaron Rodgers at this point in time. Aaron Rodgers will go somewhere else. He may try to take Davante Adams with him wherever he's going. I would think with Aaron Rodgers not back, Davante Adams is not going to be back in New York either. So, again, you start to see those changes of the most notable changes that they'll make. But whenever there's a situation with new head coaches, new general managers, you're going to see a whole slew of changes. And they usually start with some of the most significant people. In this case, that'll be Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams, who I expect not to be back both.
I assumed, okay, that's a nice piece of information. Shefty, we appreciate that. So I assumed early that if Aaron wanted to play again, it was not going to be for the New York Jets because new GM, new coach, to everything that you said. Then it felt like there was a little bit of a groundswell, I think would be a right way to describe it. Like, no, maybe Aaron will actually stick around and then they'll draft somebody and then the Jordan Love thing where he's mentoring for a year as Aaron Glenn goes in there. And then that the news drops from Jay Glazer scoopage, hey, they talked, he's not being asked back or whatever. So we reached out to our source, says what we've been told is that Aaron's potentially out of the country. And when we come back, he's probably going to be on.
Okay.
Okay, so that's what our source says have told us. Now, I believe that is maybe for some time to figure out what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
You know? I wonder how much has been figured out from this guy's side. Because I think walking away from the game, a lot of people would assume not possible, especially with how he played at the end and how everything went down. I've come to know that anything is possible with Aaron Rodgers.
Amen.
Anything is possible with Aaron Rodgers. AJ, do you agree with that sentiment with what I just said?
Yes, I would agree.
Yeah, I mean, we heard he was going into darkness, Super Bowl ready to row. We had no idea what was happening.
Over that.
Didn't even know that was possible. Didn't even know that was a thing. There's a lot of things that I've just learned that exist through this Aaron Rodgers, relationship. It's been cool getting to understand. He is. They call it his docuseries enigma. I don't think there's ever been a better word for a human. You know, it's like he is a special football player. Special football player. I mean, it is. His accolades go crazy. Everybody that's ever played professional football loves him. Every professional athlete's like, Aaron Rodgers is a dog. Mm-hmm. Like, that is literally how they talk about him. He thinks to his own drum. He goes along to the beat of his own drum.
Oh, yeah.
Very clearly. Always has. But at the end of the day, he's like a hippie who just happens to be a genius and also a football savant. So it's like, interesting. I've seen this guy in the middle of a living room jamming out with a guitar, singing, shirtless, long hair, I just walked into a hippie convention. Then I've been at a dinner where he's explaining something that I could never understand in my life. And then he starts talking about football and he's recalling blitzes that were coming from 2006. It's like, this is a special guy. But I think he's very comfortable with who he is. He's very comfortable with where he is. So I'll be very intrigued to see what he does. I assume he's playing football.
Yes.
Me. I assumed at the very beginning he's going to continue to play football, not for the Jets. That was without talking to him. That was just like reading the situation. I assume the same thing. Schefter, do you assume the same thing?
Yeah, listen, we'll see what he has to say when he's back on your show as a special guest and what your sources say.
That's a tease.
But
that's a good tease.
Say that, to me, my guess would be that he winds up playing. He's going to want to continue playing. I would guess he'll want to do it at a place that wants him. You know, here's a guy that I think he's made more money than any NFL player in history right now. And so that gives him the ability to sit back and be selective about what he does and doesn't want to do. If there's a situation that he's not particularly enthralled with, he doesn't have to do it. But on the surface today, my guess would be he does want to play. He can help a team.
How many spots, Shefty? How many spots do you think would want Aaron Rodgers' service?
Well,
look, give us a little leverage here. You know, so whenever we talk to Aaron, we could be like, hey, bud, Schefter's telling us there's 2-3 spots.
Think of one.
There's something to think about. No,
well, a fluid moving thing, right? You just don't know. There are 7 guys. Is Minnesota going to lose Sam Darnold? They're going to bring him back. Is Sam Darnold going to go somewhere else?
Yeah, the Brett Favre prophecy.
Yeah, can't do that.
Yeah.
With J.J. McCarthy?
I think
There's
like,
another.
Oh my God!
There's another new owner who probably is a big fan of Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady in Vegas.
Oh, I didn't even think about.
I think the Raiders are going to make a play for Sam Darnold. I think Sam Darnold's a candidate to be the Raiders quarterback. We'll see whether Minnesota lets him go or not, but let's see if that works out with Sam Darnold winding up in Vegas. And so if he goes there, then the Vikings have to bring in another quarterback. JJ obviously is going to be there. JJ is coming along. And I think that was part of the reason they brought in Daniel Jones, because they were kind of getting him up to speed in their system, their organization, in the event that they do lose.
And Devontae Adams going out there. Justin Jefferson.
He would never.
Devontae Adams. Addison.
Hawkinson.
TJ Hawkinson. Cook in the Kevin O'Connell calling plays.
Aaron Jones still there, right?
Oh, yeah.
There's a 1 year.
Oh, he signed a 1 year deal?
But Aaron Jones and Aaron Rodgers
Yeah,
best
guess what they can dangle. You know? Yeah.
I didn't even think about Minnesota. Holy shit. Okay, so he's coming back and playing football, and he's going to Minnesota. That's what I'm going to believe until we hear
the
different.
NFC Championship, right?
Yeah, time is a flat circle.
Could you fathom if he was to do? Anyways, let's go to another team that would probably say, "Hey, we don't know about how much we're going to pay everybody, but would love to have you a quarterback."
Yeah, Shefty, not a new coach, not a new GM, but it looks like there will be a new quarterback in Pittsburgh as far as Russell Wilson. The reports are that Russell Wilson probably not returning. There hasn't been anything said about Justin Fields yet, but Mr. Rooney in his end of season conference basically said we need to fix the quarterback room. Sounds like Russ is not going to be that guy. What do you have on that situation?
I was with Russell on Friday, and I'm just telling you, the tone that I got from him was entirely different than reports that are out there. And we'll see what winds up happening, whether or not he's back there. But I think he feels like there's definitely a chance he's going to be back there. Like, he's having conversations with the organization about the future and where it's going to go. Now, again, there's still a lot that's going to play out here, but I think he definitely thinks that he may be back in Pittsburgh.
Okay, he said that to us in our conversation too. Like, hey, want to be back in Pittsburgh? They're starting to early talks, maybe starting to strategize. And then now you're saying you're with him on Friday at the Super Bowl. Who's at the Super Bowl? Everybody. So it's like a little combine conversation happening behind the scenes for Shefty, fresh out of the big news business. Connor has a question for you.
Yeah, Shefty, more big news out of San Francisco. The 49ers gave Deebo Samuel permission to seek a trade. Are we going to see a lot of this? Because we've already seen Cooper Kupp being told by the team, go ahead, we're going to trade you. And now Deebo, of course, with the Niners, a little bit of a different situation. But what teams are going to be in it for Deebo, do you think?
And we know you're plugged in over there.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Well, I spoke to Deebo yesterday morning. So
of course
we didn't go over to the teams just yet. I would think that there'd be a lot of teams that could use a player like Deebo. Obviously, I think the 49ers did a tremendous job at maximizing his talents. But think of all the teams that need wide receivers. There's so many of them. And there's still going to be so much wide receiver movement this offseason that, I don't know, like what happens if T. Higgins leaves Cincinnati? Would he be an option there? What if Tyreek Hill gets traded from Miami? Is he an option there? What about...
he's back. He's all in, isn't he? I thought Tyreek was all in. Didn't he say he took back his I'm out and his mom called him or something like that?
I saw it, yeah.
Yeah, what did he say?
He says a lot.
I'm just saying there are a lot of outstanding... There are a lot of outstanding wide receivers.
Well said.
I think it's hard to pinpoint right now where Deebo would go. I could see him in Pittsburgh. I could see him in Baltimore. I could see him in a lot of places.
Denver.
Like any of those AFC North teams makes sense.
Okay, we would love to have him here in Indy. Deebo's a dog.
Packers.
There's just always a situation seemingly out there with the Niners.
Always.
There's always something brewing with the Niners. And I'll tell you, whenever I think about that team, I think they're great. But they're always dealing with shit. I guess that's what great teams have to deal with, except for the Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah. Anyways, Ty has a question for you, Shefty.
Yeah, Shefty, last time we were on with you, the Myles Garrett news came out, and I think everyone was kind of like, is this kind of just like a ploy maybe for him to get paid and stay there? But then he was down in New Orleans at Radio Row making the rounds, and basically on every show he kind of just said, like, hey, we're going in two different directions. I don't believe we're on the same page of what we want. So it seems pretty clear that he absolutely wants out of there. This isn't just a money ploy. Now, who knows? That could just be what he was doing on these shows. But is there any movement there? Have you changed your way of thought in terms of whether or not he's going to be a Brown next season or whether or not you think he's going to get traded?
Well, I would say this. I think the Browns general manager, Andrew Berry, is adamant on not moving Myles Garrett. And I think it would be up to some team to offer them enough to even get him to try to change his mind, which right now he doesn't seem to be willing to do. I think that this one, again, has the potential to go on for a while, to linger. And I think there are a few inflection points where the Browns sort of have to make some decision, even though I think they feel like they've made their decision, and their decision is not to trade Myles Garrett. The first one would be going into the new league year about a month from now. That would be the first time. The second time would be before the draft. And you'd like to think that if they're going to make a move, that they would do it before the draft because of all the draft pick capital that would be involved, except when you look back at the Khalil Mack trade, that was made on September 1st of that season, right before the start of the season. So there's no real deadline here. He wants to be traded. They don't want to trade him. Is there going to be a team that steps up? Like, I think there was a team that called Cleveland last week. I'm sure there are many teams that called Cleveland last week, and they told them, we're not interested in dealing him right now. Now, is there going to be a team that just stays on the phone and keeps calling the Browns and say, okay, well, I know you're not dealing him, but here's what we'd be willing to offer if you are. So, or is Myles willing to sit this out beyond?
I love that.
Again, I want to point out this. In the last few years, we had Lamar Jackson drop a trade bomb request the morning of the owners' meetings as John Harbaugh was going into breakfast with the reporters. A month later, he signed a new contract. We had Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk both issue trade requests from the 49ers. Both wound up signing new deals, although Deebo obviously has another trade request now that the 49ers have told him that they're going to honor. So just because a player demands a trade doesn't always mean that he winds up getting traded. So this one still is in its embryonic stages, and we'll see where it goes and which side.
Great descriptor. Holy shit, that was a great descriptor. That's the Schefter difference.
Yeah.
That's
Michigan.
That's a Michigan man right there.
Yeah.
I like the teams are calling, even though they're saying they're not going to trade him. Okay, we're just letting you know, though. Here's the offer. Right? 2 1s. 2 1s.
Think about it.
And you can get this guy. Just sleep. Hey, I know you're not trading him. Oh, why would you?
Yeah.
But seems like you hate you guys. You're kind of fucked for the next couple of years anyways. Deshaun Watson, what are you going to do with that? If you want to get this, it's available for you. Just something to think about when you lay your head down at night. And Andrew Berry's like, we're not interested. And then at one point, Andrew Berry's laying his head down. And that comes floating. Oh, my God, look what the Eagles did with those picks. Look what the Eagles were able to do, turn around their entire franchise.
Hold on.
With those picks. Look what the Washington Commanders were able to do just with a couple good picks. If that could just
Houston.
Look what the Denver Broncos just did with. I mean, there's so many.
Did you see what the Eagles did with Carson Wentz?
Yeah. Great tweet by you. I don't love it, because I was the Colts, on the other side of that.
But by the way, that was a Colts Saints.
Thank you. Thank you, Schefter. Ladies and gentlemen, senior NFL insider. Great year. We'll see you at the Combine. Adam Schefter. See you, Dylan. See you, Dylan. You're a real star of the family. See you. She's in the back.
Chilling.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks my sources.
Good first hour. Second hour, we'll have Bradley Cooper joining us.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, he's the one who did the intro for the Philadelphia Eagles, crushed it. And more chatter. Be a friend, tell a friend something nice. It might change their life.
I'll tell you what, after last week, I have no idea what to expect. I will say, since Kirk Herbstreit is rolling around in a Bentley right now to a plane, Nick Saban will be the holder today for the field goal kicking contest. $80,000. Rob McElwainey's here, obviously absolute dog, owner of Wrexham, obviously his soccer team, and also It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I think you have 10 other investments. This guy might be a billionaire. I have no idea, but he is awesome and entertaining. Kyle, you're a junior here, correct?
Yes, that's correct, Pat.
Have you ever talked any trash about kickers before?
Of course I have, Pat. Come on now.
This was his sign that he brought today. This guy. Is there anything you'd like to say to him before your first hold on TV?
Good luck, man. That's all I can tell you. I'm rooting for you.
Did you ever hold before?
Yeah, when I was in high school. That was a long time ago.
Okay, you're going to do great. Rob, former soccer player, maybe sign him to Wrexham after he makes this kick or no?
And look how confident he looks. I mean, I would be shaking. He seems very, very confident. I think he's going to make it.
Go! Go! 80,000, Kyle! All you got to do is point through the uprights. Nick Saban, the greatest of all time, on the call. Oh, no. Oh, no. Spiral. Throw a completion down the left side.
Wow. I say give him another kick.
Rob, he immediately blamed the holder. Okay.
I don't know, but it looked like it was coming back. It wanted to come back. If it had a little bit more distance, it might have gone in.
Coach Saban, does he deserve another kick, you think, or what? Oh, no, Steve, back throw.
Another kick.
I want to make Coach die.
That's smart, yeah, make him play. Coach, you think he deserves another shot?
Let's give him another shot.
Okay.
Make it.
This one for $100,000, Kyle. Nick's looking out for me here a little bit of coaching.
Rob,
what was your
right
did you graduate?
I did not go to college, so I've adopted Oregon as my home.
If you were to go, would general social sciences be your thing? Hey, hold on, Kyle. Good luck.
Come on, Kyle.
$100,000 in Oregon. Oh, what about? Hey. All right. Kyle, I feel like you hustled me a little bit.
Yeah.
Your second kick was so much better than your first. Shout out to Nick for the hold.
How important is the holder?
Hold is the most important.
Great, man. Congratulations. That's great.
This thing is getting expensive, Reese.
The following program is a collection of stooges talking about happenings in the sports world. It is meant to be comedic informative. The opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect the beliefs of their peers, their boss, or ESPN. There may be some cuss words because that's how humans in the real world talk. If you are young, please seek permission before watching any further.
Hey,
Why?
let's go.
This show stinks, and the fact that you listen, we are very, very thankful for.
McAfee on the line with a gorgeous assist.
The all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers,
You pink.
Damn it! Be a friend, tell a friend something nice could change their life. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to our humble abode, the Thunderdome, on the Super Bowl Overreaction Monday, February 10th, 2025. Hour 2 of the program starts now. Football is awesome, and football has a new world champion. It is the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, Philly.
Joining us now, you saw him on the back, but he's joining us for every minute of this particular program that we have left. Ladies and gentlemen, AJ Hawk.
Hey.
Foxy wanted you to get another introduction. I respect it because of how great of a year AJ Hawk has had. Hasn't he had a great year?
Yeah.
AJ, what a great year. Ohio State won national championship.
Yeah, probably his best.
Holy hell. And you picked Philadelphia Eagles to win Super Bowl. You say you haven't wavered either. He said that early, I think, didn't he? Now, granted, he thought the Commanders could beat the Eagles.
True.
Remember, that was that. And then when we watched that game unfold, he said, wait a second. This Eagles team's a little bit different. Maybe you were waffling like Chuck Pagano, but in the end, you said, I want the Philadelphia Eagles. They did exactly what was possible, AJ. And we talked about the question that was posed. Could the Chiefs blow out the Eagles? Nobody thought that was the case. Could the Eagles blow out the Chiefs? Mm-hmm. I think that is possible. And that's because they just are a dominating football team, AJ.
Yeah, I mean, this shows you, like, we hear about this stuff all the time. Can you get four-man pressure? And that's exactly what this Eagles team did. They're able to get four-man pressure all night. And, like, just I cannot imagine what the mic'd ups might sound like from the Chiefs sidelines, from all their coaching staff. If we ever get to hear them trying to figure out, hey, how do we block these dudes? Like, hey, they're not bringing six. They're not bringing extra men. Like, how do we find a way to not only did they get good pressure and they got sacks, and the pressure and also like getting in his way and getting the throwing lanes was great, but they didn't let him run at all. They were so disciplined. I know you guys talked about it earlier. They say they play a little cover 4 umbrella defense, as they called it, going into the game. All their eyes are on Patrick Mahomes, and they do a good job of setting hard edges on the outside and getting great interior rush. And when you do that, like, what are you supposed to do if you're Patrick Mahomes? I know they forced him into playing a bad game, obviously. It's not like Patrick just came out there in perfect situations and just played terrible. Like, no, he was under duress all night long, and who knows how his body feels, too. The dude was getting slammed every game.
And he kept popping up. Even whenever he ran, he took a couple big shots. Early, I think he took a big shot on one of his runs, and he kept bouncing up, but it looked like the team just never got going. We were watching the entire kickoff at the house a few hours leading up into the Super Bowl. It was actually kind of fun. I really enjoyed it. Wife, kid roaming around, watching the pieces that they're creating. They started showing the guys on the field warming up, and they showed Patrick Mahomes on the field. I mean, yeah, that's a big time. And they were showing Mahomes on the field warming up, and he yawned. And my wife was like, I don't like that. He's yawning on the field right now. And I was like, I don't think that means anything. And then Tom Brady got on the screen, and he said, in my first Super Bowl that I played in, I actually fell asleep during the day. Like, before the Super Bowl, I was able to just fall asleep. And he said, in my last Super Bowl, I wasn't able to sleep the night before or the day of because there's just so much to kind of figure out in the biggest game of all time. He said, so, maybe the young guys might benefit from the Super Bowl. They don't know what they don't know. So it was like an interesting tale there of like Tom Brady, whenever he fell asleep, it was because he just was like, yeah, it's just another game. Patrick Mahomes yawning, though, my wife immediately was like, what was that all about? And I'm like, that's a good question. Yeah, then you start watching them play. They never got going.
No.
Like, never looked like the Chiefs. No. Like, not one time early did they look like the Chiefs. Normally, he's got max bravado, moxie. Even when they're not doing well, he's still bopping off the field. There's this number happening here. Travis Kelce's doing some sort of shit. There's some shit happening. Even if he's not getting the ball, there's some, there just was never a buzz from the Chiefs team. And I do wonder, if they weren't, I don't want to say mentally ready, but just where their vibes not at the level that they, always are. And I wonder why that was the case.
Yeah, they're ready. You got it. I mean, it's back-to-back Super Bowl champs. Andy Reid, you would expect Andy Reid got him ready, Spags got him ready. But we all saw it. Like, the Eagles were just, it was a better team. Yeah, they were the better team. And AJ mentioned it. Like, not only were they getting pressure, but the way they got pressure. Like, every time you could see it just collapse in the ends and keeping them in the pocket, forcing them to try to escape up the middle, and it never got done. So they were super disciplined from that standpoint. So like you said, he never got momentum. Outside of, I think, the first pass of the game when he kind of hit Juju in the first pass, you said, okay, it might be a different game. And then after that, 9 straight possessions, not even being able to get past half field, not being able to convert on third down. They're the best third down team all year long. They had one little moment when Cook got that interception on a free blitz where it's like, okay, this could be the moment that kind of turns the tide. But then right after that, Zach Bond makes a play, sets his offense up. So it went kind of exactly how we all saw it outside of Saquon. We all thought Saquon would probably have a big game for them to win, but even with him not having a big game, kind of hats off to Kellen Moore in that offense, still calling 25 runs to kind of keep it balanced and then taking your shots and hitting the shots. Explosive plays, too. That was always the big difference coming to this one. So they just out-executed and just got dominated from whistle to whistle.
Yeah, Kelsey said it in his postgame. They were like, what happened, basically? And he was like, we just never had a spark. Like, our offense never got going. Obviously, they had a lot of negative plays, some holding, illegal man downfield, a bunch of those kind of uncharacteristic things. But then when you think back to like the Brady's last Super Bowl when it was Tampa versus Chiefs, it was kind of like this. Like, they never had anything going on offense. Their O-line was just getting dominated by Todd Bowles and the Tampa Bay D-line. Like, it was a very similar type game, just not to the 40-point drumming.
Yeah, and to your point there, immediately following that loss to Tampa Bay, they went and invested in the offensive line.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Like, hey, we understand what the issue was. And with that being said, I wonder if being in so many Super Bowls, going back to the Tampa Super Bowl, as soon as the entire team sees what's happening early, they go, oh, no, this is when we get beat.
Yeah.
This is when we are not the best Chiefs that we've been. This is when the Chiefs is still not still the Chiefs. When this type of pressure is happening to them, which leads me to ask, like, AJ or D-Butt, either or here, like, how early does that defense know? Like, oh, this is good. Like,
pretty early.
You think? You think like they?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure D-Butt has an opinion too, but I think as a defense, this Eagles team, they even talked about how they were pissed off leading up to this game about the talk of the three-peat and people talking about the Chiefs and all that stuff. I think they definitely were highly, highly motivated. But look at us. Look at the second-level defenders, too. When you get to play a zone or you match zone, like, all of the linebackers, your eyes are on the QB. So Mahomes knows, like, even if I somehow find a little lane to score it out, it doesn't matter. We got Bond, Oren Burke sitting there waiting for me. Like, I'm not going to get those.
You got like 3 spies on every play on
Yeah, even on that pick
That's got to be overwhelming to think about.
Yeah, like the pick six, like him trying to throw across his body, which you see Mahomes and Allen and Lamar do that week in and week out. When you have that type of vision, patience, understanding, and you can kind of bounce back when he never sees you, and then obviously you make a play with the ball in your hand. But, yeah, you know pretty early, and I think – even though there's a lot of new bodies out there, like CJGJ kind of mentioned it from the first Super Bowl, big thing coming out of that Super Bowl was like, hey, our D-line never could get their footing because of the field. Everybody was slipping around. And remember that stat that kind of came out earlier in the week, like the Eagles' defense when they're on field turf, like how they give up 11 points a game. They were 5-0 with Fangio's defense, and we're kind of like, okay, what does that really mean? So when you got those guys that could just pin their ears back, get after the passer, do their job, and you know you got 7. That's why it's so valuable to be able to get home with 4 defenders, because now you have 14 eyes, not only on the quarterback, but on all these crossing routes and all these things, and they just rally and tackle and force a turnover.
And while you keep talking about that, let's explain that a little bit more, as we've just kind of mentioned it a few different times. Normally teams have to bring an extra guy.
Yeah.
There's 4 down linemen normally, or there's 3 with an outside linebacker who's going to rush. 4 people normally rushing quarterback or trying to take care of the D-line. Most teams would have to bring an extra linebacker or secondary person to get pressure. That's called a blitz. Whenever you bring more than 4, it is a blitz. So if you're able to do the same pressure without having to add the extra person, that's vital in coverage.
Very, very vital, because defensively, like you said, if you're only sending 4, the offensive line, obviously you have 5 offensive linemen, and typically you have either a back or a tight end and protection as well. So now you have 6 on 4. So you can double team Jalen Carter, you can double team whoever it is, but when that other guy can win or both edges create math problems, now you're winning even more, because now you may only can get 4 out in a route, and you got 7 guys in coverage. So like you said, most defenses to apply pressure, you got to send 5 or 6 and kind of catch them off guard. But then when you send 5 or 6, you're leaving those cornerbacks and those safeties on the island, which you saw when they hit Devontae Smith on the big play, when they hit A.J. Brown on the back shoulder, even on the first big play on 4th down that they called back. That's what Jalen Hurts took advantage of when Spags, on the flip side, had to bring pressure because of how good and dominant that Philly offensive line is, and you put those DBs on the island to make big plays.
Such an advantage to have a D-line. O-line, D-line, Howie.
O-line,
in the
D-line.
trenches, especially when you're that dominating and explosive. The footing thing is interesting. I hadn't thought about that until literally just now. You actually heard my dumbass go, oh, yeah, because you did bring up the turf thing. And I think I even said, what does that mean? I don't know what that means. What it means is your guys are in a track meet to get to the quarterback. That's what that means. Now, granted, there's some turf that is slick, but it's nowhere near some slick grass, because that obviously helps out the slower person.
Absolutely.
Whenever you don't have
O-linemen love that. O-linemen love a sloppy field, because they know that D-lineman can't get his cleats in the ground, can't turn the corner, can't get a get-off like he normally has, because we know, like, the offense knows where they're going. They know where they're going and stuff. So when it's sloppy like that, it's tough for the defense. It really is.
Didn't even think of that.
Yeah, and they're probably thinking that today, or at least Philly fans, like, see, if that,
they
if that
did.
feels
We're
winning.
Yeah.
And also the gameplay, like how the game script played out. The Chiefs only ran the ball 7 times.
Yeah.
And because they were down early, like the D-line's ears were pinned back the entire game, and on a fast track, it was just a recipe for disaster.
So that's we talked about it earlier. The Colts, when Peyton was here and Bill Polian was running the show and all the boys, great team, fun team to be a part of during the tail end of it kind of unraveling here in Indianapolis. They invested a lot of money on the offense. Okay, we're going to score points, and then we're going to have 2 pass rushers, Dwight Freeney, Robert Mathis, and they're going to get home. And then we're gonna pay somebody in the secondary, and then everybody else is kind of, we will replace this entire thing. And that was kind of the entire game plan. Like, we are just going to get a lead, and then Dwight Freeney and Robert Mathis are going to end the game. And if they score, okay, we're going to get got. But inevitably, we're going to get home. We're going to score if we have to. And that's why the conversation's always like, well, if Peyton had a better defense some of these times, I assume that team would go on to win more Super Bowls. And it was like, well, the team construction was Peyton takes the lead, and then we're going to try to get home to the quarterback. It's like the Philadelphia Eagles, their offense just beats the shit out of your defense. and then their defense comes in and beats the hell out of your offense. It's like, that's a tough team. I like that a tough team won in 2025, AJ. Football's always going to require that, I think.
Yeah, it is. And that's where that's the cool thing we have seen, I think, over the last couple of years. That's coming back into the NFL. Like a little bit more ground and pound. Like you can do whatever you want. You can spread guys out all you want. We talk about it a lot. You say it a lot. Like there is going to be a moment when you're going to have to physically dominate. And whoever is physically dominating the trenches usually wins the game. And the fact, like, I'm going back to that pick that Mahomes threw from his own end zone to Zach Bond. That was huge. They're down 17-0 from your own end zone with like under 2 minutes to go in the first half. Like this was a gigantic play because
Chiefs
I'm thinking,
getting
all right,
the ball second half.
Yeah. Didn't you think, as they have the ball here, though, I'm like, all right, well, Mahomes goes down probably. He goes and scores. They go to halftime 17-7. Then the Chiefs, they can start running the ball more. The game's not out of reach. This happened, and I'm like, oh, this is a tough path for victory now for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, this is when you thought it was over? You thought it was over at halftime, 24?
I didn't think it was over just because I knew, what Tom did to the Falcons and how capable Mahomes is. But I knew pretty quickly. And then that deep ball, that thing was unbelievable. I thought Saquon's getting the ball, like we say, in the alumni zone in the third quarter. Boom, Devontae Smith, 46-yard TD over the top. That right there, you're like, all right, here we go. Game over.
27-0 deep shot.
What a play.
Dogs.
Sudden change. We talk about all the
Sudden
time.
change.
Defense, sudden change. You better be ready for that shot, especially in that part of the field. I thought it was over at halftime.
You said no way.
Because, I mean, you thought.
The way the Eagles are structured.
I was Connor's timeline kind of had me, okay, maybe not, because he kept saying, all right, I should bet Mahomes right here. I still think they got a chance. But just because of how they built, how they call their offense, and then Jalen Hurts being able, you saw early on that he threw the pick with the pressure, but outside of that, hey, if I get beat with the pressure, I don't know what's going on, I'm going to take off and get 13, 14 yards, and that's a huge weapon to have that, Matt Ryan or most pocket quarterbacks don't have.
So you thought going into half, this game's over, okay, cool. Like that. So that means that the halftime show was like the main event of the evening. Yeah. You kind of checked out after that just for the commercials. Everybody's thoughts on a halftime show? My take? I don't think I knew enough songs that were being sung, so I couldn't sing along, which is what I certainly enjoyed doing. Thought it was very well choreographed. I don't know how many people were all just on the exact same page. Thought that was pretty wild. Also, with everything being said about the Drake lawsuit, say Drake staring at the camera, that had to feel pretty cool. He had to feel like the cool, in the middle, like when Brett Favre was suing us. Like if I could have gone to the halftime in the middle of the field at it, like on camera, and been like, "Say, Brett, I hear you like to," and just went through his entire case that's happening down there. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'd probably walk out of that going like, "That was a pretty cool night."
I thought
that was pretty cool night.
I thought it was good.
So with all of that said, I wish I knew more songs. That's on me. But there's going to be people that hate every halftime show,
without a doubt,
for sure. No matter what, and there certainly was, But I didn't think it was a drawback. I don't think people left. I mean, maybe we'll see that the numbers are 24-0 at halftime. Maybe people checked out anyways through it all. But it's like, all right, I saw a Kendrick Lamar halftime show. I'm excited to see who's next year. I'm excited to see who's going to continue to take the biggest stage at halftime.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was good. I'm a Kendrick fan, so I do like it, but I agree. I wonder how much it has to do now with Apple Music running it, where they're just like, hey, perform your new album. Like, we're trying to get people to buy that. We don't need, everyone's already downloaded your previous album.
So I've heard Squabble Up from the new album.
Yes.
Right. So I'd heard that one.
That was like
TV off, the Mustard at the end.
Yeah, Mustard giving him credit, I think, because of the biggest hit of all time.
Exactly. But you're right, too. It's funny, you mentioned it this morning, and I had said it right before you came back out of the bathroom. You're like, I thought he was going to bring Imagine Dragons out. Like,
I thought there was a chance. There's no real surprises
but,
out there.
if they want to just, kind of try to appease everybody and have no one really care. Just be like, that was fine. Like, that's what you do. You get Imagine Dragons to do the halftime show because people aren't going to be up in arms about it. People aren't going to remember it like it's crazy. But we're at a stage now where no matter who they pick, people are going to be pissed off. It doesn't matter. I mean, it was good enough. I think it didn't feel like when it was over, like, Jesus Christ, I just watched that for an hour and a half. It felt like it was pretty well paced, and they got back to the game. So it's all going to come down, if you were pissed off when they announced it was going to be Kendrick Lamar, I can't imagine you tuned in and afterwards were like, you know what?
I saw
That
the
was
internet
pretty
was
good.
telling me I missed a lot of things. Maybe.
I feel like that's always the case when it's something with Kendrick. People always make it deeper than it is, and sometimes it is. But I thought it was dope. I felt just like you. I'm a Kendrick fan too, so Dollar Music, definitely a fan of his new album. And obviously, everybody wanted him to perform.
And he knew that.
He knew he had to do it, and he did it. And hearing the whole
stadium.
crowd kind
Whole
of being
stadium.
in on it, Serena up there, crip walking. Like I thought the whole Samuel being Uncle Sam. Like I thought the whole
That's
thing,
cool.
the choreography. I thought it all was pretty dope. And I think people that I feel like going into the Super Bowl, you knew going into it if you were going to like the halftime show or not.
Well, that's
Like,
life, I think, at this point.
Yeah,
right?
like, all right, Kendrick Lamar I'm going to hate it. It's going to be dumb. I don't know his songs. He's not a Super Bowl act. And I think Super Bowl is kind of one of those events where, like, a pop artist or, like, one of those top 40 artists is going to get kind of the most traction.
Yeah, most topical guy.
Yeah, you
of the
go
year, though.
hip-hop, you go country, you go rock. You're going to cut out a lot of people. But I thought overall it was a good
I
performance.
think he won like 5 Grammys or whatever.
He did.
Yeah, for just that song.
Yeah, and maybe not as much pizzazz. I saw some people saying like he's just walking around.
Where's the pizzazz?
He's just walking around.
I thought it was good.
It's like Samuel L. Jackson was in there. I thought everything that was happening around. I mean, there was a lot of pizzazz.
Yeah. The bird's eye view. It was set up like a PlayStation controller. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, and
pretty sick.
That is pretty sick. But I heard it was designed that way for a lot of other reasons too.
Oh, I thought it was because it was a game, and then they had the game over thing.
Yeah, I understand. But have you seen the? He said everything Kendrick does was much deeper.
Yeah, I need to dive in. I have not.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, I saw his chain. It was an A minor.
Yeah, and to be clear, I'm not a big musical person. Love music.
Love it.
Love music. Love everything about it. I don't know about Nick Cannon drumline. I can't read music.
Sure.
I don't know what these things are doing.
You can feel it.
But I certainly A minor. I know a lot about. I know that A minor is a musical note. Yeah. And quite a clever little.
Yeah, and everyone screamed.
Yeah, it feels like everybody thinks that's a very singable part. Sing us a song, you piano man. Or Country Road, take me home. Everybody, right?
Yeah. Great
That's why
commercial.
Rocket Mortgage paid for a sing-along to be one of their commercials, which is a great thing. Sounds like that A minor thing is starting to become one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody sings along, and that's a pretty pivotal part of a song. And, I'm excited to see the repercussions of all this.
Yeah.
He didn't say it. He did the certified part, but he didn't do the second part.
Yeah, I mean, I understand A minor is a musical note.
Mm-hmm. It is.
It certainly is. We've learned that.
You have.
Then I was in a commercial immediately after.
Yep.
Great.
Not a big spot, but a good spot. Right there.
A couple times earlier, though, they showed your other stuff earlier.
So many 15-second things throughout the day. I was watching that Fox thing, and then all of a sudden, my dumb ass is popping up on the screen. I was almost uncomfortable, with the wife watching that. Watching her be proud of this, it was pretty cool. And I was honored, obviously, that it was happening. But watching it as much as it was popping up on the screen yesterday was kind of weird. I was like, all right, we've done it. We've done it. I appreciate it, and it was an honor to be a part of. Very cool to be a part of. One day shoot out there in San Diego. Shout out to Chula Vista, I believe, high school. I played soccer for ODP in Chula Vista at the Olympic Training Center whenever I was a teenager. It was like the biggest moment of my childhood sports life, going to play at Chula Vista with ODP. It was a big deal. So then going back there for this particular thing, I remember I'm like, Chula Vista, I remember this town. And to work with Peter Berg and Justin Jefferson was there the day that I was there. And the whole thing, it was wild to be a part of. Had a trailer, had makeup department, 2 people doing my makeup, and Jackie throughout this entire thing. And then obviously the mission to make flag football a varsity girls sport in all 50 states is certainly one that I'm cool with, especially with my daughter, Mackenzie, seemingly going to be good. I think she's going to be good. She's not even 2 years old yet, but she's got good wiggle, and I think that is something that's big in flag football. It's also an Olympic sport, so let's go ahead and be the best at that, for sure, by far. And it's also a great way to grow the game. I did see people were mad,
Oh, what?
No.
They were saying, we're going to say that girls are better than boys at football. Maybe at Central High School in 1985.
Certainly a possibility.
And did you see the cleats that she was wearing versus the gear that they had to have
exactly.
in 1980? I just think the whole goal here is for girls to get excited about ball even more than what they already are and to feel like they have an opportunity to be great. And I think flag football at the high school level is awesome.
Genius.
And if it's going to provide scholarships, maybe even later in life, I mean, there's. Now, I saw everybody go, we're not making a women's professional flag football league. It's like, you're right. This is for high school varsity sport, just to kind of see what this could be. And I'll say this as somebody that was probably, a little, flag football at a time. Dudes were playing, remember it was on NFL Network?
Yep.
Then the flag football quarterback said, I'm better than Patrick Mahomes. And we all said, okay, we're done with the flag football community.
That's enough.
You remember that?
Oh, yeah.
You remember
Very vividly.
Remember when we said that?
We saw his highlights of him throwing.
Yeah, we want to watch, but we hate you. So we can't. It's kind of the thought that all football people had. But whenever I watched that high school girls all-star game on the Pro Bowl game Sunday, I was at Cheesecake Factory watching it on TV. No audio. I have no idea what Orlovsky, Laura Rutledge, and whoever else is calling it saying. I'm just watching strictly. They're zooming in on a safety. She's making checks as they're changing formation. The amount of audibles that are being made, the play that's made, the throws that I'm like, they're playing fucking ball right now. It's good. I think it's something that they can really get into in a big way. And it's like, if my daughter has the opportunity to do that, I'm behind it. So getting a chance just to be a part of that thing was cool. It was a cool mission, cool message. And I'll tell you what, being a fatso, probably my future there. Bald fatso, certainly in the future, I think, potentially.
Stash.
And I don't know if I can grow a mustache.
Come on.
But I'll tell you what, my head, now granted, they did some stuff.
Sure.
Maybe not that terrible of a bald guy.
Okay. No.
Because I used to think I just got this blockhead, because you see it here, and when it grows out, it's not good. So if I was to go bald, which is possible in my family, it is possible. Boy, it's going to be a bad look. I'm going to become a hat guy full time. Probably cowboy hat in this entire thing. But then I saw me as a bald guy. It's not bad shape. Then he put the scarlet mullet on.
Sure.
And that's when it really started looking terrible. And then, the mustache goes, and then the thing goes. But it was cool to be a part of. It was very cool to be a part of. And obviously, it's the NFL Super Bowl commercial. So the NFL even asking me to be a part of it is cool. And maybe they don't hate us over there.
Maybe
not.
Maybe we're not some
bunch of big thumb dipshits.
Well, I don't know.
Well, probably still that, but
some of us.
Definitely that. I saw somebody tweet, well, how's he going to be a biased journalist if he's working for the NFL in their commercials?
What?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I will say this. Those refs early, they were certainly trying to perpetuate a narrative, weren't they?
Yeah. First call, it was tough.
I mean, was there no self-awareness? Was there no conversation about the reality of the conversation around football? Fourth down? Calling that? It's like, whoa. I'm getting a call from a hater, somebody that thinks definitely rigged.
That was bad. Yeah.
Not happy about it. FaceTime immediately. Huh? That's one. First drive. Couldn't help themselves. Going crazy. Okay? So then, obviously, they call that call against the Chiefs.
Terrible.
And it's like, hey, maybe the refs just stink. And I think it was same ref.
Great. I thought it was a great job by them. Getting it out the way. Makeup call, back-to-back terrible call, money downs.
They were not letting the
Now
boys
we
play.
don't talk about it anymore.
I think that's genius.
Yeah.
I agree with that entire thing. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us now, he's a Super Bowl champion. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us now is the man who welcomed the E-A-G-L-E-S Eagles onto the field in this fashion.
All right, from the city of brotherly love, your 2024 NFC champions, the E-A-G-L-E-S
Had to feel so cool. Boots on the ground, ladies and gentlemen. Owner, co-founder of Danny and Coops, the greatest cheesesteak in your town, Bradley Cooper. What up, dude?
This is awesome. Wait, my mom wants to say hello real quick.
Miss Gloria.
Hi, guys.
Good to see you. How are you?
I love your show. You guys are so funny.
Oh, my gosh. Thank you.
I'm smart.
Okay. All right.
There you go. There
Don't
you
be
go.
giving it away, Gloria. Please. Don't be doing that. We love you, too. Thank you for everything.
Thank you.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Bye.
Bye. That was awesome.
See ya.
See ya.
Great shades.
Hey, we looked her up on the internet. Sounds like an Italian last name. If I would have said ciao and grazie.
My mom?
Yeah.
Yeah, Campano, yeah.
Does she know Italian?
No.
Okay. Smart.
You know, when my grandparents came over here, you know, the whole thing was to assimilate into American culture. So they only spoke Italian in the kitchen, and they wanted their children to become acclimated to and being American. So it was only her older brother who spoke Italian. But she was the middle child. She never learned it.
Okay, so many Italians in Philadelphia. Obviously, you are one of them. You are one of the faces of this Philadelphia Eagles team. We just showed the introduction. You killed it.
Yeah.
You killed it.
Yeah, you know, it's so funny though. So I was so nervous I was going to misspell Eagles #1, obviously.
Yes.
And then I started to think about how, you know, it does set the tone, right? It is actually not nothing. Like if I screw this up, that's not a great omen.
Yes, agreed.
And but I kept thinking I wanted to say NFC champions.
Yeah. Could you imagine?
And I kept like running at people, and some people were like, "Fuck yeah, you got to do it," and other people were like, "No, dude, don't do that."
We're happy you did it. I want to let you know because we would have taken some heat somehow for ruining a moment. And if they don't win, because you say that would be.
I thought it would have been great. NFC champions.
That's good delivery there. I mean, maybe we go back in time. I assume you'll be able to figure it out with how young. Look at this guy.
Unbelievable.
Look at this guy. Aging backwards, Benjamin Button. Let's talk about
How about that kid Declan, man? He was awesome.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so you give him tickets on the Today Show, right? Am I accurate in the story? Who was he?
Yeah, so I didn't give him tickets. The NFL gave him tickets, but I wasn't aware of his story because I'm not on. I don't know if you had seen the TikTok thing, but I'm not on social media, so there's a whole section of reality that I'm never aware of unless someone tells me. But I was with my daughter at the Commanders game, and we were just walking in the field, and someone was like, "Hey, hey, hey!" And I turned around, and it was a kid with a poster, and I just like blew him a kiss. I had no idea. But then I learned about his story that he's from Doylestown. He's 9 years old, and 2 years ago he was diagnosed with a pretty treacherous ailment of arthritis, and he was in the hospital 17 times. And then they sent me the TikTok video. I don't know if you guys have seen it.
No.
But there's a guy who does a thing where he offers you something or something else, and he offered him $1,000 or another choice. He chose the other option, and it was tickets to the Commanders game. Then the guy also gave him the $1,000, and then they were in a dollar store. He was with his family at the dollar store, and the kid went around and gave everybody the money.
Oh my
God! And it was kind of incredible, and people were like losing their minds, like what's happening? And so the Today Show wanted me to come on and like do an interview with him. I was like, I don't know who he is, and I guarantee you he doesn't know who I am either. I just waved to him, and he didn't. When I met him, he was like, I don't know. They're like Rocket Raccoon. He's like, oh, I know Rocket Raccoon.
Well, that's an awesome.
And then so I was like, but I'll give him the tickets. I'll go on and just give him the tickets with the band and the cheerleaders. And then so that was really cool. I went and just did that. And then the NFL asked me if I would introduce the team. And I thought, I'll only do it if he does it with me. That would be dope if he did it with me.
Yeah.
So that's how it happened.
That is incredibly cool. I saw this clip of you running out of the tunnel with the smoke coming around you.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I'll come out and do that. But he was awesome. He was so calm, and I mean, I don't know. I was nervous, and he was like calming me yesterday. It was awesome.
Well, I love to hear that. Thank you for doing that. He's going to remember that for the rest of his life, and obviously,
I will.
You will as well, but also good karma into the football universe that you did that. And
it was a good moment, man. It was a good moment. You could feel it, you know. After I said like, all right, you could just feel that support. I mean, the truth is, in the stadium, it felt like a home game. It really did. I don't know how they did it because optically, it looked like it was split red and green, but sonically, the Eagles fans were just totally amplified. It was nuts, man.
Okay, could you have fathomed the game going that way? I think the reason why the Eagles fans were so crazy is because that place, first of all, known for being very loud. Tough to play down there whenever the Saints are rolling, let alone everything going on. But it is built to be loud as shit. And then with the way the Eagles started that game, it felt like it gave you guys a lot to yell about. How, in your wildest dreams, and I know you're sitting up in the box and you just introed the team, so you're like a part of this entire thing. Could you have fathomed the Eagles just beating the hell out of the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl?
Well, the truth is, I thought that our best shot would be, obviously, like many people, we have to take an early lead. But I did think it would go either two ways. It's either going to be a blowout by us, or it's going to be a close game that we lose. And I was just praying that it would be a blowout.
Yeah, I think that was kind of the read on the rosters throughout. Watching you go throughout the entire season has been awesome, too, for us behind the scenes. Go ahead, AJ.
Yeah, Coop, did you get to hang out with the team afterwards? Like, what would you do post-game? You get to see who was performing at the post-game party, and how excited are you for this Eagles team to hopefully go on a dynastic run as they keep talking about?
You know, AJ, first of all, this is so crazy. I'm on the show. I sit here and write and watch it because you're on my phone right now. So the fact that I'm interacting with you, it's like I'm going to wake up in some fucking fever dream or something. It's crazy.
I feel the same.
Yeah. We can't believe, exactly. We can't believe you watch.
And by the way, thanks for all the shout outs. I mean, so literally every time, I think I told you, I was like, did you hear? He said my name. He said my name today.
We are so lucky you watch the program. You are the coolest dude.
Yes.
And tell me something cool.
Oh, bro, I watched the program.
That's awesome.
Well, we appreciate that.
So getting back to that was, I was at the Super Bowl when we lost. I was at the Super Bowl when we won. And every time I just was sort of catatonic up in the box. And this time, even when we won in 2017, I never left the box, and I was just sitting there alone as everybody went down to the field. I don't even think they asked me to go to the field though. But today, because we had already been there and we had our wristbands, my daughter and I were like, we're gonna go down. And I gotta say, man, it was. And Lane Johnson, I just think he's maybe the best right tackle to ever play the game. And I love everything about him. I love his work ethic. I just idolize the guy. And at the end, we were watching like behind the fence, the sort of makeshift fence on the stage. And then I was sort of waiting for Lane to come down on the right side, but I realized other Eagles were going down the left side. And I was like, Lee, let's just walk. It's mayhem. There's cameras and fucking people. But I see this big Goliath walking away. And I was like 8 years old, dude. And I'm like, I'm like, Leah, I gotta see. And I'm like running to him. And I'm like, Lane.
What a moment. What a moment.
And he turned around, and it was so ebullient and like wonderful, and like we hugged, and you're hugging these guys after the game, and they're fucking drenched in that fucking smell, and these fucking gladiators, these fucking gladiators, and it was like it was weird because I felt like I was 8 and my daughter's 7, and I'm holding, but I felt like I was 8. It was like and one of the most incredible experiences. It was, and I've had anxiety for 2 weeks, and I thought maybe something's wrong with me. I'm sick, but I realized it was just the emotional angst of this game, and I've only slept like 3 hours, but I feel so relaxed, man.
Yeah, well, congrats, you did it. You did it, Coop. And football's the greatest. Bradley Cooper feels like an 8-year-old after a big-time win, which leads to this. Ty has a question for you, Coop.
Yeah, Coop, first and foremost, what a fucking honor. This is so awesome that you're on the show. But so when you take all that into account, where does last night rank compared to, like, your career accolades? Obviously, you've been nominated for 12 Oscars. Bullshit, you haven't won yet. But, like, you're one of the most beloved and popular actors of your entire generation. But where does last night rank compared to, like, all the cool shit you've done in your career?
Well, I didn't do anything but observe last night.
No, intro.
Yeah, you introed
intro. John Hamm.
Well, I will say that
his voice cracked in the middle of that. Set the tone. They never were able to roll. They were never able to roll. Then you go, all right, let's go, and get right into it. It's like Lane Johnson's right behind you. You talk about how much you love Lane. Lane's right behind you. You set the tone. You won the Super Bowl. You did it.
And by the way, I worked at it. I was saying that thing for like 2 weeks up and down the street, like in weird public places. People are like, what's he doing?
Yeah,
I watched The Rock. I watched The Rock do it, in L.A., his like epic thing that he did. That experience, Ty, of doing that, which I was nervous about, that felt as big as like singing at the Oscars. And, I conducted the London Symphony Orchestra live in Ely, which was fucking terrifying. And then played at Glastonbury Music Festival for Stars Born in front of 90,000 people. Like, it felt like those things, those moments of like, holy shit, I'm on the moon right now.
Well, we don't want to talk about that. Buzz had a commercial.
Buzz had
a commercial yesterday.
He's a filmmaker, so
really pushing it. Hey, you were on the moon. Yes, you were. You were on the moon. So were we. So USA.
That's right.
USA.
Buzz is natural on set.
He's good. He was actually kind of a stiff actor.
No, you were about to say he's a real good actor.
No. I wasn't going to say that. Anyways, we're happy that you felt like that. You deserve to feel like that, brother. And then you just just listening through some of the crazy things you've done. What a talent.
Yeah,
what an
what a
absolute talent. Speaking of talents, coaches, D-Bud has a question for you, Coop.
Coop, gotta ask you, as an Eagles fan, we know a lot of the Eagles fans and media have been torn on Sirianni, and obviously everybody's over the moon right now as an Eagles fan winning the Super Bowl. But what's your thoughts on Nick Sirianni? When did you know this game was over and the Super Bowl was in the books?
Oh, I didn't know it until way late. I think it was that penultimate field goal when I was like, that's it. You know, because but you know, and no one in the box did too. It was tense, man, up until like 4 minutes. Like, you remember that last field goal, the second to last field goal? Then I was like, but up until then, I don't know, man. Because, you know, 2 years ago, I went into halftime and I was talking to my buddy about, you know, how am I going to get to the parade? You know, and then I, you know, just got it slammed in my face. So I learned my lesson.
Yeah, all 4 quarters, head down. Next play. Only thing that matters.
Rip your heart out.
Yep, absolutely. Hold on one sec. You're sitting with the owner, right?
Yeah.
And GM up there, or just owner?
Oh, yeah. And only because, you know, I did this movie, Silver Linings Playbook, back in 2010. And Andy Reid used to be, you know, that's when he was the coach, and he was, and because we shot, you know, they allowed us access because we shot in the parking lot for the tailgating and all that stuff. And then because he was obsessed with one of the players, I was able to go and spend some time with all of them, and that's how I got to know everybody, and that's when I started to be able to go to the games and got to meet Jeff, and that's how that whole thing started. So at this point, I've been through the ride with those guys, you know, just alongside, but it does feel a part of it. I mean, they know how emotionally connected I am, and you know, and now my daughter is, I started taking her when she was 2, and now she'll be 8, and like her evolution and her knowledge of football in these years, it's incredible.
Yeah, those moments I assume are amazing. You know, that has to be such a cool feeling with your daughter.
Yeah, it's nuts, man.
Hey, flag football.
Yeah,
flag football.
I love it. By the way, I love it. Of course, it should be a varsity sport in high schools. And what are people even saying with the commercial? I thought that too. I saw it online, that commercial. I thought people are going to have issue with this, which is ridiculous.
Well, it's life, Coop.
Yeah.
You know, that is the world that we live in nowadays. And, you know, you're never going to be able to please everybody, but somehow it seems like you have, you know. And it's not just.
That's not true.
Not just with your acting. I'm sure there's people, but a majority of us are like, Coop's the man. Yeah. That's why as soon as we found out that you watched the show, remember I FaceTime. You remember how this started? FaceTimed you out of nowhere. Got a text from a random number. Hey, this is Bradley Cooper. Wanted to let you know. Okay. Go fuck yourself is my first thought. No response, no chance of that. So then I come in here and I tell the boys, I go, got a text from a number acting like they were Bradley Cooper last night. And everybody, I think Connor led the way, is like, cold FaceTime right now. So we FaceTime, you know, and you answer, and the response was, holy shit, this is Bradley Cooper. And we couldn't operate for like 2 days after hearing that. So we appreciate the hell out of you. And, you know, when I had to do the acting thing, who do I text?
Obviously, Coop.
The guy.
Bradley Cooper.
Yep.
And you gave me a quote that says, say what you mean and mean what you say. And I think it's my
James Cagney,
Yeah, James Cagney quote or whatever. Said, this is the only thing you need to know. Go out there and be like, you wish me luck. So we appreciate you, Coop. We appreciate you.
I appreciate you guys, man.
Know that. Not everybody gets that reaction with this particular crew.
No.
So that is a. yeah, you do know. You do know.
I'm waiting to leave and then you just shit all over me.
No, that ain't the way it works, Coop. It's normally our first feeling. Is our forever feeling. That's kind of our problem and our gift. Anyways, let's talk about a gift that you're giving to society that we weren't able to experience, but we were close. Connor has a question for you.
Yeah, Coop, how'd the cheesesteak business come to be? Obviously, Danny and Coop's, you know, you have a place in New York, and then obviously you have the food truck you were handing it out. We tried, Pat just mentioned, to get some. I mean, too many people were there damn near, and there were some people running it too that were real funny, real mouthy as well. But how did that kind of come to be, and is that something you think you'll do forever?
Yeah, it's all Danny Giampetro, man. I went to Angelo's years ago, and I was like, this is the best steak sandwich I've ever had. And he and Jared and his whole crew, Gina, and then I live in New York, but I would then actually we did this thing for one thing, and I realized he's such a nice guy, and then I said, hey, can I come and get your ingredients and just cook for my friends out here on weekends? And I did that for like 2 years. And then I said, I was like, you know, there's no good steak sandwich shop in New York. Would you ever want to like get a food truck and see if this could ever work? Like, let's just park on the side of a road. And then we did that, and it did well. And then we did it again, and then we're like, let's look for a place and open up just a cheesesteak place and make, you know, just do a couple of things to make it a little bit more just for us. and what we like, and then that's what we just started doing, and it's been unbelievable. I take my daughter to school, I walk over, I go on the grill for 4 hours, I pick her up. It's like heaven, man.
Yeah, it was like 591 sandwiches or something you moved in, I forget how many hours on opening night. There was people reporting the lines out the door for this place in New York whenever you opened it up. And then obviously people had photos of you cooking in the back. And I think people were like, oh, this is for show. It's like, no, this guy's actually cooking. And you mentioned it at the beginning there. Your grandparents were from Italy. They only spoke Italian in the kitchen. Did you grow up? How did you get into being a cook? Because I know you had that
chef.
You had a chef movie, right? Did you not?
Burnt, excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, I worked at my grandmother was an incredible cook, and I used to always be with her all the time, and so I always loved it. I used to cook for my friends and my parents when I was like my daughter's age, and then I started working in restaurants when I was 15. I was a busboy, and then worked as a prep cook in Somers Point, New Jersey, at a place called Marabella's, and then I just always kept it up. And then I was a horrible waiter in college, and back of the house was definitely more my speed. And then I did this TV show that I got to play a cook called Kitchen Confidential. And then I got that movie, which was incredible. And I got to train with all these unbelievable chefs. And I just, I love to cook. I absolutely love to cook.
So we make food, we make movies. We're part of the ownership group of the Eagles. That's good. That's a pretty good gig.
Good
Pretty good little gig, Coop. Yeah. You did okay. You did okay. Could be better, though. Tone has a question for you.
Yeah, Coop, you talked about the last Super Bowl at halftime, making plans for the parade. Are you going to be at the parade? Are you going to be a part of the parade this time? And are you going to get a ring, too, or what?
Yeah. They just moved it to Friday, so because there's going to be snow on Thursday. It's tricky because I'm in prep now in a movie and my daughter is at school, so I'd have to juggle a lot of stuff. But I'm going to try to make it work. I think it starts at 11, so if we can get out early and there's not that much traffic, I'm gonna. I mean, we gotta go.
Gotta be there. Gotta be there, pal.
For that one.
Yeah, we don't have school.
Pull her out of school.
No. You be your own dad, whatever the case is. But that sounds like we're missing school on Friday. And also, you won the Super Bowl, bub.
Yeah.
You and Declan, you guys won. You were part of the entirety of it all. What movie we shooting? You said you're in prep for a movie. Is this you getting in shape right now?
What does that mean? What does
that mean? Well, this is for I play a guy who's an understudy actor, and he's understudying a play called the 13 Disciples, and he's understudying all of them. So that's what this is about. But it's like a little comedy that Will Arnett is the star of, and Laura Dern and Andrew Day's in it, and Kieran. It's a great cast. And we started in 2.5 weeks, so it's kind of crazy.
Okay, so are you in? What? So you?
I play a small part. I just play his best friend, but those are the leads. But I'm directing it.
So what does that mean, directing it? So because I just did this commercial shoot, I don't know who was what. I don't know who was what out there. What is?
It means that it was a project, and then I rewrote it, and along with Will and Mark Chappie, and then I'm gonna I conceive of it, and then we get a group, and you direct it. You're making the movie, and then you're gonna edit the movie, and then you put it out, and hopefully the studio likes it.
Tell me if I'm wrong though. You camera shooting.
I just joined the union, so I'll operate B camera, which I'm very excited about because we did some stuff. We went down to Chinatown, and it's been amazing. It's been amazing.
Yeah. I've heard from text, but I think people need that. This dude's actually holding the fucking camera.
Awesome. Unreal.
You're like maybe the most.
Yeah, you would love it though. It's the closest thing in film. I mean, but filmmaking truly, honestly, is very similar to sports, team sports. Like no question, it's all about creating a culture. It's all about just the shot you're in and not thinking about just the end of the movie. It's very, very similar to football in particular. If one of the 11 messes up, the whole thing's screwed up. And people don't see that from the outside, but if you're in it, you know that very well. Same thing in a movie set. That's why it's always interesting when you just talk about certain crew members. But anybody that's ever made a movie knows that the camera operator and the dolly grip and the sound mixer and the first AD, these are key positions that are as important as the actors or anybody else.
How long you been making these movies?
I've been doing this since Wet Hot American Summer, so that was like 2000. Classic. And then I was lucky enough to be able to work with directors who let me into their process. But this will be technically the third movie I've sort of written and directed.
Congrats, dude. Dog mentality. Dog mentality. Tell me something cool. So whenever you were a horrible waiter and great chef whenever you were coming through. Did you sing in the kitchen? How'd you get those chops, bro?
I did. It's so funny you said that. We used to dance at this Greek restaurant when I was a busboy called Alexander's. I got a question for you, McAfee, real quick. Because one thing that I love is how fast your brain works. And because it's almost like watching a deposition, you know, because there's just no cutting and I'm just watching you. You know, you guys cut the, but by the way, guys in the back.
You talk about team.
There it is.
You talk about team. This is real. Real.
Dude, you guys are just, it's awesome. It's awesome. I feel like you've created a couple new camera angles in the last month or so. I don't know. It feels like that.
Get a little artsy. Thank you. That's Jabba. Thank you. Filmmakers understand. You know, filmmakers understand. If you could get a.
And at one point, I thought, like, whatever you look at, like, if there's something you read, it felt like it was too high for a couple of shows. Then you lowered your eyes. And I was going to type, like, what's going on? Your eye line's high.
Okay, well, every once in a while, you know, there's places stacked on top of each other. You know, we don't have a full dolly team. We need we need a full dolly team, and the grip. I'm sorry, the dolly grip. We need them out here. But we appreciate you watching. Yeah, I think it's.
Oh, so what I was going to say was
singing.
So because I can see how fast your brain works. It's fat. I love watching you because I feel like you're 8 steps ahead of whoever you're talking to, and you're just like then you're just starting to like almost just pleasure yourself by thinking of other shit or doing something else because you're just waiting for them to catch up. It's one of the things I love watching the most in this show.
Okay,
is that accurate? My question is that accurate?
Okay, I don't know. Shut up with that whole thing.
No. Answer me honestly. Is that accurate?
I don't know. I don't know what you're referring to right now. Sounds like a compliment.
AJ,
so that's wrong.
AJ, is that accurate?
Yeah, I would say it's pretty accurate. His brain is very, very quick. Yeah, there's no one's brain is like Pat's. That's for sure.
Thank you. Anomaly. I like that. Just like you. Now let's get back to your talent, please, and thank you for the kind.
And by the way, I don't at all mean your crew because you guys are all in sync. I'm saying when somebody else comes on.
We agree. Coop, we all love you, buddy.
Love you.
We all love you. With that being
no, but I'm serious.
Okay, well, we appreciate you. Now, with that being said, you were singing in the kitchen. How do you just go to A Star Is Born? And Lady Gaga is like one of the greatest singers.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Still bringing it. Still bringing it. I mean, that performance on
hardcore. Yeah, she was great at the Grammys. She was great at the Super Bowl. And actually, they came by and said hello to us last night, which was awesome because she hasn't seen Leah in a long time, so that was awesome. And I just did it. You know, like any like relatively intelligent person, I just surrounded myself with people that were incredible at it. So that meant like Lady Gaga, and Lucas Nelson, all these incredible artists. And I have a strong work ethic. I mean, that's like the secret weapon that I've always had. It's like two things. I absolutely love what I do, and I have a pretty incredible work ethic. And so I just put the time in, man. I just put the time in. And I also was smart enough to like I put the bandwidth of that character's vocal range like this. I thought if I could just nail that, then I could be believable. And I just worked hard. This guy Roger Love in LA, I would go 5 days a week in voice lessons. And you know, I'd go there. I remember I used to go there at 9 o'clock. He's like, no musician comes and works their voice in the morning. You're the only person. And yeah, I just did the work, man.
Okay, well, you're an Italian, obviously, blue collar, work ethic,
and Irish. My dad was Irish. So
hell yeah!
Oh yeah, so you are like the blue collar dream, pretty much there, the Irish Italian. So your work ethic is obviously something to admire. But did you write those songs? I think we heard that you wrote some of those songs. Were you?
I wrote Black Eyes, the song in the beginning.
That's the best one. It's the best one on the soundtrack.
Thanks, man. Oh, thanks, man. Dude, it was so crazy, bro. Like honestly, like I'm writing it on a thing, and then we made it, and I was like, and then I'm singing it at Stagecoach, and it's actually a song that
That's
I wrote.
The opener, right?
Yeah, it's the opener. Yeah.
Yeah. So we make movies. We make cheesesteaks.
What?
We make Super Bowl champions.
Yep.
What?
We make songs.
What?
We sing songs.
What?
We nail songs.
What?
And now I'm doing it, make a movie that's awesome. I mean, Coop, you got a fucking great brain, pal. You should be incredibly proud of that little Italian-Irish ass being able to take over seemingly everything that you touch. AJ has the last question for you, Coop.
Yeah, Coop, how do you feel your athletic ability stacks up against other actors? I'm just thinking like Wedding Crashers, watching you lay people out all over the place, like on that set. Did you have an athletic background growing up? Did you play sports? And do you continue to maybe get in some intramural leagues, maybe, you know, try to get some buckets, whatever you may be? I don't know what sports you play.
So when I love sports, I've always been coordinated. My dad played freshman ball at Villanova basketball. He was a great athlete. My mother actually is very coordinated. But when I was a kid, I was very nervous and insecure and shy. And I remember my dad used to always say, and I played sports all the time, but I never wanted. It was like it boils down to like I didn't want the ball. And it wasn't until I got into college where I started to feel more comfortable that I started to play intramural sports, and I started to feel like my mental capacity was catching up to my actual physical ability. And I rode crew in college, but that was great just to be a part of a team sport. But I absolutely love sports, and I love playing sports, and still play basketball, and I like tennis, but I'm a massive sports guy.
Sandler, pretty good hoop player. Sandler, right?
Yeah, I remember, dude. So when I first moved to LA, I was at the Santa Monica courts playing basketball in a pickup game, and I'm on this TV show, and I didn't grow up seeing famous people. And all of a sudden, I realized, like 2 games in, it's fucking Adam Sandler.
How's he dressed? Like an asshole? He's the best dressed guy of all time.
Yeah, but by the way, and the reason why I didn't know it, because he's so just like, you would never even know, nicest guy in the world. What you see is what you get. It was awesome.
He was at the Super Bowl just sitting all by himself before the game, taking pictures and stuff. Yeah. It's like Adam Sandler's the best.
He's the coolest, man. He's the coolest.
Hotel Transylvania, buddy.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, me too. Just like you.
It's amazing.
We love the hell out of you. Congratulations, Super Bowl champ. You're the man, brother.
Thank you for having me, guys. Keep doing it.
Okay, you too. We appreciate you. We can't wait to try Danny and Coop someday.
I got to get to the Thunderdome.
Yes.
I got to get there.
Oh, we'll get a food truck here for you.
Boom.
We'll ship the ingredients, whatever you need. We appreciate you, ladies and gentlemen. Bradley Cooper. That's been a crazy relationship.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Nuts.
That has been a wild relationship. Like,
awesome.
Actually watches. Like, he talked about it there, about how he writes and then he watches. So he doesn't pay attention to everything, but something will pop up and then
What's
going on?
Yeah.
And then an immediate text. And it's like, holy shit, Bradley Cooper's watching the show right
nuts.
Legend. Unbelievable. And then he gets the open for the Eagles. It's like, what a perfect.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
For him, too. Like, him following this Eagles season he was with it, man.
Oh, yeah.
Everything we read on the internet, he was in there as well. All right, to the ESPN people that are watching on linear television, we're going to be off for a little bit. It's been a long season. We appreciate you all for allowing us in your homes or airports or cafeterias or anything or anywhere that you show us. We'll be off, and then we'll be back at the Combine. And hopefully the show won't get worse, but there is a chance. Thank you for enjoying the NFL season with us. You're the greatest people on earth. Be a friend, tell a friend something nice that might change their life. Yeah, I think I got it in there.
Yeah, that was
absolutely screwed.
Right on the money.
I think you got it in there. Now there's a chance it's off, though, by half a second, so then me congratulating myself will also be on there.
That's cool, too.
We'll see.
Yeah, that works.
Which is not a bad thing. We're watching it in the back there with 30-second delay, obviously, because the Fox in the sheds. With Coop, certainly.
Yeah, he let him fly. It was awesome.
He watches on YouTube.
Yeah, he gets it.
He watches the whole thing. He sent us a text one day. I spent 4 hours and 45 minutes with you boys today. That's a long time. I was like, I remember.
What an insane world.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about his insane life?
Well, yeah. But, like, you expect that from him, but, like, that he watches us is just
nail like that.
So stupid.
I like that. We had it. Big spot. And he'll probably say, good, hey, that was a good out.
Yeah. Exactly.
How about him talking about the different shots? You guys had a couple shots in there. I think I've seen a little bit.
Yeah, that's awesome. The camera did have. He would notice it.
Yeah, we switched the cameras.
Had to switch
so there's 2 cameras stacked on top of each other, but the TV there basically shows stream, and then any text or tweet that goes up or anything on the screen that pops up is right up there. So there's this 2 top. There's a camera right there, the top one, and then there's a lower camera there. And everything you just said was accurate. Yeah, we had to flip those.
Coop knows.
It's like Coop's got his eye on it. These motherfuckers switching the camera.
That's crazy.
You don't think anybody noticed? Coop did. Bradley Cooper DeJean.
Yeah.
What a dog. The Exciting Whites doing their thing. Still can't make a fucking everything all DB team.
Yeah,
Look,
it's just crazy.
He'll be a preseason watch list for sure.
Really?
Yeah, it's part till week 5. You know, Marlon Humphrey's all pro this year. But look, postseason.
You know what you can make? You can make a postseason everything DB team.
Yeah.
Still wouldn't put him on it.
He's on it.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Starting nickel.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
I don't believe him.
You know what? Reed's on it too.
See?
Holy shit.
See,
Now 33%.
Now it feels like you're making a mockery.
Happy birthday,
Yeah.
Cool. I wouldn't do that.
Like Aiden Ross and
I would
Kanye.
just hand
You should
out,
put those guys on there.
I would
A lot
just
of
hand
sirs
out,
in that
Yeah.
team.
Well, too many.
awards to white guys Black History Month. They didn't deserve
Jeez.
it. All right. Those guys deserve it.
You sound like a Ravens fan.
Jeez. I'll tell you what, internet's been loud this year. There's been a lot of magical moments. This has been stupid that we followed along. And to the people that watch on a regular basis, you know this is our break time. And we try to run as hard as possible during season, like legitimately try our best to, because football season is the greatest season of all time. We love the sport that we get to talk about. We appreciate what it does, not only for us, obviously, but for the people who are fans of it. I love what football does for society. I think it brings people together in a way that no other sport can. I think if you look at any stadium, even last night, you're going to see people from all different backgrounds coming together for one thing. And I talked about this at the ESPYs, but it's real. Sports are the greatest thing on earth. Football is the biggest sport on earth, but sports are the greatest thing on earth because it's the only time, seemingly in our world, and I think we're getting to a much different place. I think it feels like everybody's kind of a little bit more open to each other, a little bit more friendly with each other. That's a good thing, not a bad thing. But sports are the only place where it doesn't matter how you feel about some political topic that would drive friendships away from each other. You could sit right next to that person as long as you have the same color on. Fuck them. Hell yeah to us. It's a beautiful thing. We're so incredibly pumped and lucky that the season went the way it did. Started out a little shite.
A little shite.
No doubt.
Started out a little shite.
Definitely.
But college ball made up the difference.
It did.
College ball was electrifying. The new conferences and the new times and the new everything. Each week was something special on a Saturday for college ball. So as football in the NFL was kind of shite, college ball was electrifying. And the environments and the atmospheres and the fans were making up for it. So football was still delivering for society. We were honored about that. And then all of a sudden the NFL football started picking up. And the college football continued to go. And it was like, holy shit, is this the greatest football season of all time? I think so. And we were so dumb and so lucky getting to ride alongside of it. And to everybody that did that with us, we can't thank you enough. And we're going to go breathe for a couple days, okay? And when we come back, Combine, AJ.
Draft season.
Off season's the best.
Draft season.
Yeah, Tone Diggs said in the middle of Schefter saying some line, Sam Darnold's going to the Raiders. It's like, all right, haven't heard that. And who knows if that's real or not. Tone holds up a dry erase board and goes, I love the offseason. And he starts pointing at all this shit. It's like, that's real.
Yep.
That's what we're heading into.
Anything can happen. The possibilities are endless. And, we talk about it as soon as this is the next day of the next season. And hope is back for all these teams, free agency, the draft. Yep. That one guy that can change everything, just like Saquon changed everything for the Eagles. That can happen to our team. Why not?
What are your thoughts on the 2024-2025 season?
It was unbelievable. I mean, you talked about it, the college football season being the 12-team playoff. I thought that was really cool. Now they're going to make some tweaks that are obviously going to improve it. I think it can only get better from there. I just love we're back to playing defense and we're back to running the football because, as I've said many times, that's how you and I were born and raised, and I love that type of football.
Absolutely. Old school, seemingly all the way back in. Let's go to the talks table at Boston Connor. Ty, we'll start with you. Obviously not the Packers year or the Iowa Hawkeyes year.
Sure.
But your takeaway on this football season that was?
I mean, it's just the best. And I think once we started doing this job, obviously, I love the Packers more than anything. Would like to see them win a Super Bowl every single year. Same with Iowa when it comes to college football. But, we get to talk to so many people on different teams and everything where that was never a reality. So you maybe just kind of like a guy or whatever. But, now you genuinely do have a rooting interest for, if your team's not there, you can pull out 2 or 3 guys that we maybe have a relationship with and can really pull for them. So every year that this goes on, it's I was genuinely so happy for Sirianni last night. Which is weird to say the Eagles beat the Packers in the first round of the playoffs, embarrassed them, got rid of them. But I felt like I was an Eagles fan last night because of, of the whole Sirianni thing. I was so happy for him, and that's awesome. I can't wait till next year.
Great stories every year.
Yeah.
Sirianni changing the trajectory of his life.
Yes.
With that Eagles win. D-Bunch, how about you, brother? 9-year NFL veteran, host of Everything DB, Good D, Bad D. Another great season.
Yep.
Great.
Another great season. What's your big takeaway from this football season that was?
Tone kind of hit on it. You kind of hit on the resurgence of kind of the running backs. I love that, what they did as a group. Obviously headlined by Saquon Barkley in the MVP caliber season he had. Jahmyr Gibbs, what he done out in Detroit. Derrick Henry going to his new spot. Josh Jacobs, just the resurgence of that whole position because you saw Jonathan Taylor, he had a good year. You saw as a group, they tried to devalue them as a position group. So I love what they did as a group. And then you kind of mentioned too with the Eagles, them being the champions. I always talk shit about it and make jokes about them being one of my 4 teams. But I've been rooting for Jalen Hurts since day one, since coming into the league. The path that he took throughout college, getting benched and still being a good teammate. We always talk about how important it is to be a good teammate. You saw him do that on the biggest stage. You with your relationship with Nick Saban, you've heard other stories about him, kind of who he is behind the scenes. And then for him to just kind of stay true to himself, lead this team along with Sirianni, the type of group that he's led. And just to see this team, I felt like this was, I'm not one of those guys who are like, hey, this guy deserves it more than that guy, or this team deserves it more than this guy. But just all the shit that they were taking on TV, all the shit the head coach was taking, how they built the team, how they did it, how they stuck together throughout it all, and then to come out on top and win it. Happy for him and happy for that team. So it's a good way for me to end it with one of my 4 squads.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And the way you made your pick on Friday from Radio Row was it's not often that one of your 4 teams makes it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly.
Whenever you have 4 teams, that means probably
better chances.
No, but also if you have 4 teams, that means one of your main teams is not good.
Correct.
Colts.
At least one.
Or
Dolphins.
Exactly.
Boom.
Or
Chargers were in it.
Yeah, Chargers were, but for a while they weren't. For years they weren't in it. So it's like for your team, one of your 4 teams, to make it. First of all, that's a new thing because you don't have 4 teams if the other 3 aren't necessarily winning on a regular basis. And then also for you to be on board with Jalen Hurts from the beginning, even whenever there was an entire tide shifted against him. This guy's too cool. Fuck this guy.
Yeah.
Like that literally became the thing against Jalen Hurts. And you stuck in the pocket with him. You rode the wave with Jalen Hurts. And great for the Philadelphia Eagles. Man.
Unreal.
Good for Jalen. There's multiple confetti photos now that he can change his home screen. It looks awesome. Boston Connor, your takeaway from this season?
I would say we're in like the golden age of NFL talent. Like it feels like every year it can't get much better, and then it does. Like even if you were to look at Lamar being the MVP last year to how much better he was this year, and then for a guy like Josh Allen to be even better than him, and then we look at last year with C.J. Stroud, this is never going to happen again, and then boom, Jaden Daniels comes in. It feels like every year there is just an increasingly better game being played. Like Lamar was the story in the award season this year. Jamar Chase won the Triple Crown, but no one gives a shit because of how much better so many guys have been, throughout the season last year. Not better than him, but just overall as a league. And, you talk about defense too. Like Zach Bond 2 years ago, I didn't know who he was.
Special teamer.
I don't think many people outside of New Orleans knew who he was. Now he's a household name making picks in the playoffs. He's a finalist for Defensive Player of the Year. It just feels like right now we are legitimately in the best era of skill in the history of the NFL, and it's just awesome to be able to do this. Like Ty said, like we get to cover the game really closely and we get to know the guys. Like as a Patriots fan, I don't like the Buffalo Bills fans, but I love their team. Like Deion Dawkins was one of my favorite interviews of the entire year, and we do get to talk to a lot of people. And Josh Allen, same thing. His story's incredible. So it's one of those things where we're so lucky to cover the game, and then also, as a Patriots fan, selfishly, I think it's very cool to what Tone said. We're like, hey, now that we're into next year, it's like I have all this new hope. Like every year is so different compared to the year before that it does really just give you like this resurgence of, okay, now we have a chance. Now, obviously, every year there's really only 8 teams that can win, and I feel like 2 of them played last night going into last season. It was the Eagles and the Chiefs. Those were 2 teams that, you could see them in the Super Bowl.
Packers, Niners, Eagles.
Lions and the Vikings and, the Commanders, they kind of came out of nowhere. Both of them, but the Ravens,
Colts.
I wouldn't put them in there.
Lurking.
But every year there are those teams, and right now those 8 teams, it could be yours, and it's just awesome every single year, especially just looking back, at how far the entire program, but the show is coming. It's cool to be here, man. It's crazy.
So stupid.
Yeah.
Every Radio Row, I experience that more.
Yeah.
I think like that. It's kind of like, what's that syndrome called?
Imposter.
Stockholm?
Imposter. Stockholm, Jesus.
That's definitely
not
it
that
is.
one. I don't feel like I'm not becoming
You're
friends
not,
with my
yeah,
captors.
Yeah, okay.
Your captors.
I'm not. That's Stockholm.
That is Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah, it's the imposter one. We walk in there and then with who we get to talk to, and then the amount of people. There was 100,000 people just streaming on YouTube today or whatever. It's like that's just YouTube. Let alone TikTok Live and ESPN. and ESPN Plus, and Disney Plus. And then we go down to Radio Row and we get to see all the people that cover the sport. And they basically all say, I had somebody from Australia that covers the sport say, your show basically taught me the sport in the league. Now I cover it, now I'm here, and now we got a game going here. It's like Ireland, the same people.
It's nuts. It's crazy.
Watch our show. It's fucking crazy.
It's crazy because I travel so much in airports and see people in planes and all the time, and it's just crazy. Obviously, the just the bandwidth that the show has, and I think the best part about it for me at least is that we get to be ourselves. You know what I mean? A lot of people, as they grow, as you do new deals or as your show goes new places, you got to change or just put so much bullshit out. And then you're kind of reminded when you go to a place like Super Bowl, that's why even the people that play, even the people that do TV, they just appreciate it so much because of how authentic we can be. And then, the growth of the show and how huge it is. And even something like Patrick Surtain winning Defensive Player of the Year, watching the video the Broncos put out and hearing my voice on it because I get to do everything week in and week out. Like that's super dope moment. So yeah, we're definitely very, very lucky to be in this position.
Very lucky, very thankful. Great observation. I don't think about much of that. I try to stay in like our bubble.
Yeah, exactly.
I try to just stay right in here.
Day to day.
Just stay right in here.
I see so many people.
Yeah, you travel. Yeah, so you're seeing a lot of people. So I respect. Hey, thank you for your traveling too. That's good work. That's hard work. That's good work. That's great work ethic. Not just good work ethic. Great work ethic. Yeah, absolutely. But you don't. A lot of people would. A lot of people would have bad attitudes too. You don't at all. Clearly tired some days, but don't bring everybody else down. Just still do your shit. Good vibes. The amount of travel, always good vibes. So we appreciate the hell out of you, and also you get to see the outside world a lot more, I guess. Because it is crazy. Like Radio Row is the first time really seeing any of these people because we don't go to any Super Bowl parties. We weren't invited.
We're invited to any.
Yeah. We weren't, were we?
No, we weren't.
Weird.
Hey, that's a real deal, brother.
Fucking bullshit.
Kind of get it,
man.
I don't understand why Fanatics didn't invite us to the Super Bowl.
I don't know if we're ever going to get invited to one of those.
That one I do get.
But it's kind of all those companies, they're hosting all these things.
Yeah.
So we don't really get invited, and we would definitely not go, especially with how close that casino was.
Yeah, but the way it was fucking kicking our teeth in a night out to, for a couple free booze cocktails, maybe wouldn't have been a bad idea.
Maybe a performance by some musician.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that could have been nice.
Yeah.
There's no way we would have went.
No chance.
No.
We would have found something.
They're always Friday and Saturday, too.
Stomach bug.
We're gone.
Like you said, the casino is a fucking stone's throw. I mean, it's just impossible not
way
to go.
too close.
Yeah, way
we
New Orleans was awesome.
as soon as we got there.
New Orleans was awesome,
On
though, as a
Tuesday
place.
I think so. Yeah,
Everything is super. Like I saw a bunch on the internet, and the main takeaway, because everyone was right about it, everything is super walkable. Now, we didn't do it much because we went show, hotel, casino, show.
Yeah.
But, like, even when we walked to dinner, that was a 10-minute walk. Bourbon Street was right there. Like, everything's super walkable in that city. The weather was perfect. Like, New Orleans is a great Super Bowl.
And the people, Drew Brees talked about it, they are very welcoming.
They are.
Yeah. Welcome. Come have a good time.
Jeff Landry. Yeah.
Governor Jeff Landry. Now, I heard a lot of people say, I had no idea people were like that. But I think he comes in and starts speaking the way he's speaking. It's like, holy shit, we're in a movie right now about Louisiana.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, that's the most powerful guy in Louisiana.
Yeah, that's Louisiana, baby.
I can't believe Diva didn't know about Nebraska.
I mean, I'm a young guy. What can you say?
You're young.
I guess it gave me a compliment.
There's been a couple of times where people could have had a lot of finger pointing places, and they've all ended up back at you. You realize that? What's that all about?
It's part of it.
What's that all about?
It's part of it.
I don't like that one bit.
Jameis.
Especially, you go to certain places.
Jameis, certainly.
Yeah.
Well, you know.
Diva knows what I'm talking about.
You know, that's my guy. He crushed it this week, too.
Hey, Jameis did crush it. Congrats, Jameis. And him and Bert had some great clips.
Hilarious.
I love people that we talk about all the time. Like, Jameis is always Jameis. Like, that's not an act.
I appreciate him hearing me say, hey, don't be doing the stupid shit.
Don't listen to anybody.
Do the Jameis shit. And then him coming in saying, thank you for saying that. I wonder if he was like, that was my shit. I didn't know if that was him telling me, like, hey, I heard you and that was my shit. Or if that was him saying, thank you for acknowledging the situation I was probably in there.
I bet he was saying thank you. First time doing that. I'm sure there is just a laundry list. Like, we got a bunch of great content ideas for you.
All these people have great ideas.
Oh, I bet someone told him to say something, and like he thought about it, and then thought of what you said, and was like, "That's not anything I would ever do."
Yeah, but he was awesome. I would like to say,
great.
You're going to continue to be awesome, Jameis, if you just keep being Jameis. All these people that go to school for TV have great ideas, and I think it works for a lot of people if they need it. But if you got Jameis, you just
Let him run.
You
Mike
roll
him up.
Jameson's.
Yeah.
There's go. Marshawn, yep, you just go
Same
ahead
thing.
and let Marshawn do his thing. And also, you know who you let do his thing? AJ Hawk.
Amen.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
AJ, what is your big takeaway from the year that was in the football world? Obviously, congratulations to the Ohio State University.
Hell yeah.
I mean, what a year! What a year! I mean, I know as I get older, I get obsessed with football more and more. I think as I get older, now I find myself like looking and watching things that, if you'd have told me when I was playing, I would have thought this guy's a loser. Like, why would you? I think sometimes, like, man, I would like to sit into I would like to go. I should call James Laurinaitis and go ask him, hey, can I come sit in your linebacker meetings a couple of days? I'd like to I think about that now sometimes, and I think back. Every once in a while, as a player, there'd be like a random dude, an old player that would come and hang out for a day, and I'd be like, why would you want to? These meetings are awful. Like, we're meeting for 9 straight hours. What are you doing? Like, I never understood it, and now I get it completely. I was like, I would love to be a part of it. Now I love trying to figure out why teams are doing what they're doing, like scheme-wise, everything. It's fun to try to figure out like the whole chess match back and forth. And I never really, when I was younger, I don't think I cared as much about that as I do now. So like, I love watching DB, D-Butt put his everything DB and obviously AQ in the trenches and seeing from their perspective how they see everything, because football is absolutely, it's 11. Like, I know playing the linebacker position, you got to know what everyone in front of you is doing and everyone behind you, and the more you communicate, the better your team is going to be. So I think football is awesome right now. It really is, and it comes down to it when we watch. When we sit there at those college football games, we watch from the end zone. I get like weirdly giddy when I see guys use proper leverage. Like, I see here's the outside piece, here's the inside piece, and I see them attacking and doing it. When I see them do that over and over again, I see it consistently. It blows my mind. Like, it really does, because these dudes not only are so big, so fast, so strong, but when they're disciplined on top of that and they can do the right thing and do, like, you see that they're well coached, it blows my mind. It really does. So I think football continues to do that for me. And obviously I'm out and about. I got my kids play a bunch of different sports. I assistant coach on different things. I interact. I'm in and out with a lot of different people that are all over the place, and I travel a decent amount too sometimes. And people, the reaction to the show it's awesome. Like, I texted Connor. I was after a basketball game Saturday. We went to lunch. Took my kids, my father-in-law, my wife, and as I'm leaving, the waiter, he hadn't said anything the whole time. He said, "Hey, give Boston Connor my best." And I said, "I will do, buddy." And so, like, things like that happen are awesome. Like, people are paying attention and they actually enjoy it, and I think they enjoy the fact that we have fun on here, because this is the best. This has ruined me for any other kind of media. Sure. I used to do stuff on Sirius XM. I used to call games, Conference USA football games, which I absolutely loved.
Of course.
But thinking of doing that stuff now after being able to join you guys, it's tough. Like, I've found my lane. This is awesome.
We love you, AJ.
I love you, Hawk.
Baby Hogger.
And you're right. Good ball is happening. I think that good ball conversation is why I am so pro girls flag football. Because when I watched that high school all-star game, they were playing good ball. Like, hey, there's good ball.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want to sound like
they're well coached. Like, they're well coached though too. Like, they're not just out there doing, what do they call them, powder puff games back in the day when they would have a girls flag game. Like, no, they're scheming them up. They're making reads. They're doing stuff, like they're reading the defense. It's next level.
It's good ball. I think there's some people that will probably try to make that out as like we're saying something negative, but it's no. Like, there's high school boys football you watch, it's bad ball. Like, there's bad ball that happens, and that's like something you're saying. That's bad ball. Whether the technique was awful the entire time, strategy stupid, whatever it was, there's bad ball out there.
Oh yeah,
and it's like,
see it on a pro level.
Yeah, we say it. We say it in men's football, boys football, a lot. Mm-hmm. So whenever I was watching that high school, it's like, hey, this is good. They got some good ball going, and it's like not out of surprise. I guess kind of actually, because I didn't know you had that much shit in flag football. There's a lot of shit in flag football. That game's pretty deep. That's a deep game, just like football is a deep game. So much strategy, technique, reading, audibling, shifting, disguising. It was like, I did not know this is where flag football was as a whole, let alone like, high school flag football. I didn't know this is where it was, because I think a few years ago when we watched on NFL Network, they got the ball to the one guy on a drag, and then he did that
changing level.
That dip move, which is a flag football move, not an actual football move, tackle football move, not actual tackle football move in this entire thing. And it was like, that was kind of what it was. It wasn't like out scheming and out strategizing and out reading. It was like the game of flag football has evolved mightily, and it's like, it's good ball. There's good ball in there. There's good ball in there.
Yeah.
And it's like, especially if it's going to become an Olympic sport, let's be the best.
Oh, yeah. Have to.
Now, granted,
have to.
they're all doing 7-on-7s in high school now anyways, right?
Yes.
So I assume our high school kids will be great flag football players as well, even if they're playing tackle football. I would assume boys. I would assume. That's different. That's tough to tackle.
Yeah.
Brad couldn't do it in 1985 Central High School.
No, practice it.
Yeah, he got to come to balance, be a little better.
Yeah,
He looked like an asshole. He was clearly not prepared.
Open field was just a mess.
Yeah, there was a
He
lot.
needed to be humbled. He needed humbled.
Yeah.
Chad, too.
Yeah, Brad, Chad, Tad, Thad, I think was in there.
All the boys.
All the boys. They had terrible form. Even if it was tackle football, I don't think they're getting them.
All the ads.
So once again, that's bad ball.
That's bad ball.
That's bad ball by the Central High School boys. I don't know if they were football. Were they a football team? I don't know.
Looks like
Had to have been.
think so. They got
Letterman
their
jackets
Lettermans,
on.
Yeah, it might have been a road team.
They're picking
Could
him. Miles Garrett.
Well, he's a paleontologist.
She threw the ball off that dude's dong, though. That was tough for him to come back from.
Ray was actually right off his Jimmy Johnson, not his dong.
Yeah.
And they said Jimmy Johnson,
My
which I
bad.
respect, but they, the one-handed snag straight into the dong shot. It's a good throw. That
Good
team
move.
would win, I think, the Olympics.
No doubt.
Central High School's team should think about being our from 1985.
Right.
They should be maybe our team. Vanita in there. She was the coach of the girls' flag football team. Legend. One of the greatest flag football players of all time.
Oh, yeah.
Throwing from here. Throwing from right here.
Yeah, Rich Gannon.
Putting that ball wherever the fuck she wants. Good ball. All right. Boys in the back, great work this year.
Work, boys. Work, boys.
Really good work. Talk. Graphics. Great work over there, boys.
Great, boys.
And on that note, we bid you adieu for a few. So we can snooze and come back better than ever.
Hell yeah.
I doubt that, actually. It normally takes us a few days to get back into it.
Yeah, but we're
Little self-scout.
right at the combine, though.
Yeah.
That helps.
Oh, so we're going to because Combine will give us a little juice.
Exactly.
New spot.
The juice.
Because everybody's going to be there. Now, with that being said, we have no idea where our set's going to be there.
Sure.
On a 50, right?
Probably not.
The NFL, everybody that we've talked to at the NFL has said, hey, can't wait to have you at the Combine. Can't wait to be there. Because NFL Network normally the only really sets that are in there. So we put an ask in. Feels like the people with the NFL were like, okay, sounds good. But there's one particular person that's actually in charge of this entire thing. Haven't heard from him. So we assume that he's talked to everybody else, though, and just hasn't really got to us. But there is a chance we're going to be at Lucas Oil Stadium. Also a chance we're here at the Thunder.
Okay.
Either way.
I've decided I'm going to do some insiding this year down there.
What are you going to do? Shake hands? Kiss babies?
Shake hands, kiss babies, take people out to dinner, go take them out to the bar, show them a good time.
Oh, you're going to host maybe?
Get them boozed
Show
up.
them a side of Indianapolis they don't see very often.
You're going to take them down there to Tin Whistle.
Oh, yeah. Take them to the whist.
Connor will get you in there real quick. Him and Gumpy.
KOC and McCown had a great year after a night at the Tin Whistle.
KOC becoming the coach of the year.
After a visit to the Tin Roof.
After being at the Tin Roof
Bang!
Combine Week. Dog.
Something to think about, Vrabel.
KOC comes up to me at the Combine. I was with one of your guys last night. They got me a shot or whatever. Beard. I was like, really? Zito? He was like, no, it wasn't Zito. Some guy with a beard. And then I get a text from the group. Yeah, I had a couple with KOC last night from Gumpy. And I tell KOC, it was Gumpy. He goes, yes, Canadian guy. It was awesome. So KOC, just like normal human, feels like.
Oh, yeah.
Weapon.
Great coach. Just signed a new deal with Minnesota, right?
Yep.
Congrats to him. Who's going to be their quarterback? Not Sam Darnold. Is it going to be Aaron Rodgers?
Ooh.
I doubt it.
We'll have Aaron Rodgers with us whenever we come back.
Written in the stars.
I believe he's out of the country currently. That's what our source
Says.
are telling us. Is that what your source says? Are telling you as well, AJ?
Yeah, I haven't really checked.
Okay.
Be honest with you.
Yeah, if I'm just telling you the truth, I've been so.
I didn't say drop location pin. I didn't say that.
You should.
Think about
I
it.
should. Maybe I will.
Check on the guy.
Come on.
Yeah, maybe say, hey, how you doing? Heard they
Oh, yeah,
said they
I
don't
did.
want you.
Yeah.
Scoopage.
Major
Sure.
Major scoopage. Aaron flew himself to New Jersey.
The quick meeting. In and out. He's not going to be a Jet next year. Scoopage.
Jimmy Johnson thing was sweet.
Yeah.
That AI thing. So is he done? What happened there? If he is, thank you for
Kurt
everything.
McAfee asked him, and he was just like, I don't know, one day at a time. I thought that's what the whole fucking thing was.
60 years in football, maybe?
Yeah.
Is that what it was supposed to be instead?
I guess. I'm not sure.
Congrats, Jimmy, man. It was fun reliving your life. I didn't know, Oklahoma State through the entire thing. And then the power of that, I bet you was kind of freaky for Jimmy.
I would assume.
Because I assume they had pictures from all those eras, and then they just plop it onto a human. Jimmy Johnson,
Is that I traveled back.
Holy shit.
What the hell?
That was cool. But it did feel like it was a retirement thing.
Yeah, I thought so.
Even the Jimmy Johnson. 60. And then they're like, are you done? Whoa. They're still paying me here.
Yeah.
There's a buyout. There's a whole. Whatever the case, Jimmy, thank you for your commitment to football. That was fun to watch.
Yeah, Jimmy.
Shout out to AI, too. Shout out to AI. All right, AJ, let's get the hell out of here. It's been a fun season. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I can't wait to sleep.
Hell yeah.
I'm going to sleep a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to sleep a little bit over the next
Enjoy it.
You should.
Probably going to look at some water.
What?
Check out some altitudes.
What?
Probably turn into a lobster.
Why?
And that's with very limited sun. I turn into an immediate lobster. What do you have over there? You have something to say?
No.
Got a dry erase board up.
I do. I didn't know if you were going to do that thing or not.
Oh, yeah. I thought you had to poop right there. If you got to poop,
No.
you go poop.
I mean, I do, but I'm going to hold it till after the show.
Nice. That's not good for you, though. You shouldn't do that.
Yeah, you should let that out.
I do.
Let it all out. Because those things will linger in there.
They will.
Yeah.
Ty held in a couple poops, and look what he has to deal with now.
Bingo.
Sure, just let it go.
That's why you always got to let sneeze go.
Exactly.
Einstein.
Never hold sneeze in. That'll happen for you. All right. We appreciate you all so much. AJ, great work this year. Everybody, great work. To the people that watch, wherever you watch, thank you so much for allowing us in your life. We'll see you in a little bit. Now, without further ado, after we break it up one last time, we will have a nice recap of this NFL season that was, and then we're getting the fuck out of here. Monday Night Raw tonight in Nashville. Then I'm getting the fuck out of here. Going to be a blast, 8 o'clock on Netflix. Big shit coming. Massive announcements over the weekend. Whoa.
No.
What's going on? We're on the road to WrestleMania right now.
That's right.
Things are heating up.
Hell yeah.
Got the headset on tonight down in Nashville. Can't wait to see what's going on next to Michael Cole. But after that, I'm fucking out of here. And it's been a great year. A hell of a year, someone say. Be a friend, tell a friend something nice. It might change their life. We're in this thing together. Let's never forget it. Team on me. Team on 3. We'll see you in a little bit. 1, 2, 3. Team. Goodbye. Well, that's that. We have a new world champion, but who would we be if we didn't look back on the 2024-2025 NFL season and reminisce about the great things that happened? For instance, there were some new rules. The kickoffs looked very weird.
But they added some electricity.
Line drive to Turpin, and it bounces through his legs. Here he comes. Devontae Turpin spinning 3. Here he goes. Fastest man in the NFL. Devontae Turpin takes it all the way. Touchdown Dallas.
There were some new stars. That team in Washington, D.C. is all of a sudden back to some real relevance.
All of their fans did a Hail Mary to get in new ownership.
Yeah, and they got a new quarterback. Jaden Daniels broke the rookie quarterback rushing record, and he himself threw a Hail Mary to get by the player drafted ahead of him.
Here comes the Hail Mary with the game on the line. And the ball is caught! Caught! It's a miracle!
There's also a new tight end in town.
Don't forget about Brock Bowers out there in Vegas.
That's right. Boring Brock Bowers is about to be big ballin' for a very, very long time, you see the bees.
Stepping up. Going deep. Has a man. Caught.
The NFC North was supposed to go this year, if you do recall. Two-headed monster over there. These Lions, fun to watch and dominant, and they're tricky.
Unsportsmanlike conduct penalties. Now Gibbs stumbled after taking the snap, but it doesn't matter.
The Vikings have the best wide receiver in football, and it seems as if any quarterback can do a great job with the coach of the year, that jawline-having son of a bitch, Mr. KOC.
Second down 9. Darnold getting messy, going deep, and he's got Jefferson. It's a foot race downfield with Brown. Shifting gears, getting a block. That's 6.
And hey, let's tell the truth. Okay?
Tell the truth.
Fair.
Tell the truth.
I will tell the truth.
Okay.
Kickers are awesome. We even had a free kick.
Can he bang it through? On its way, it is. Yep.
Shout out to Jim Harbaugh's big brain for that. And welcome back to the NFL. We're going to have moments like this with Coach Harbaugh.
Bill Belichick talks about the middle eight in a football game. I mean, there's a middle eight in a season too. You could break it down, that way. 6, 7, 8, 9. I mean, those are important games. The only joke I know is why was 6 afraid of 7? Because 7, 8, 9. 6, 7, 8, 9. Those are big games.
How about that guy up in Buffalo? Bills Mafia, stand up. Josh Allen finally won an MVP.
People were really, really happy for him.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it did seem like they
finally.
were.
All of us.
Yeah, it felt like everybody was happy. Yeah. It was something that really could unite all of America.
That's what the NFL does.
Josh Allen being an MVP. Well, his team was counted out this year going into the season. Brand new roster. Get rid of all the players that we know. And he put the team on his back. He even ipso facto threw a touchdown to himself this year in the snow.
Targets to Shakir, completed. This is behind Cooper, who brought it in. Pitched it back to Allen, who's going to go to the goal line and get it!
Well, and it's official. Christmas is now officially an NFL holiday worldwide on Netflix.
Sorry, NBA.
Gotta stink.
That does stink, especially if Lamar Jackson's going to break the NFL quarterback rushing record while 31 million folks watched around the globe.
It's as good a running back as we've seen. Jackson will keep this time. And look at the speed. Lamar Jackson is gone. Touchdown. Merry Christmas.
And that leads us to the world champs. Saquon Barkley. Absolute dog. Might go down as the greatest free agent signing in NFL history, and one billionaire needs a lot of Ambien.
What's the latest? Just on the Saquon thing.
I just got a text that Chicago's driving the price up and Philly's out. I don't know if that's true or not. Which I don't know if I'll make a couple of calls. I don't even know if that's gonna happen, but
I have a tough time sleeping if Saquon goes to Philadelphia. I'll tell you that. As I've told you, just being out. I've been around enough players, but he's the most popular player we have by far.
Saquon Barkley not only ran forward and jumped backwards into the history books, but he is now the all-time leader in rushing yards in a season. Shout out to him and that offensive line.
Yeah, boy. Hurts has time. Now locates Barkley out of the backfield. Barkley slips 2 tackles and picks up the first down. Jumping up in the air to the 30.
Makes the first guy miss. The spin move at the last second. And then, what tiki? What is that?
Turns out Nick Sirianni's not some big dumb dipshit.
Wait a minute.
That doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
I remember those lower thirds day after day saying,
this guy's a big dumb dipshit.
Then the next day it'd say,
still a big dumb dipshit.
And then this third day somehow it'd say,
this big dumb dipshit's gonna cost him a season.
And then the next week they let off with,
he's the weakest link in the league.
And then the next day it was,
he might be a fat stooge
but now the big bald dumb paisan is a world champion. And it's not just Sirianni, obviously, and he won't take any credit. Neither will Big Dom. How about the Eagles defense led by Vic Fangio? He wins his first Super Bowl, and he coached an absolute juggernaut.
3rd and 16. Mahomes rolling out. Looking, firing, intercepted. Picked up by Cooper DeJean. Gets a block. DeJean is. So here's Mahomes. What's he got left? Pressure again. Decked. Ball is out. And the Eagles have it.
And the quarterback, coolest guy in town anytime he goes into.
That's right.
Jalen Hurts went for 42 touchdowns this year and can finally change his home screen.
Run some block, or maybe throw the dagger. Hurts going deep for it all. Devontae Smith, he has got it. Touchdown.
The Eagles are our world champions. Congratulations to Philly. Congratulations to the Johns. Congratulations to the Chiefs. It wasn't a great ending, but your dynastic run continues next year as 32 teams will start at the bottom of Lombardi Mountain trying to chase the trophy that the Eagles will have. We appreciate you, NFL. What a season it was.
It's been a hell of a year. How did you see who I was and who I was gonna be? I could have been right, was probably wrong. So many nights wishing I could go home. It's been a hell of a year. Oh. It's been a hell of a year. Oh.
Hell yeah. Shout out to Talk for that edit.
Yeah.
Shout out to the NFL for a hell of a year. We're going to take a hell of a break. We'll see you on the other side. You people are the greatest people on earth. Who will win the Lombardi next year? What stories will develop? Whose legacies will either be ruined or created? We'll cover it all. And also, NBA, NHL, lacrosse,
F1.
Great movie.
Brad Pitt looks awesome.
Yes, he does.
Be a friend, tell a friend something nice. It might change your life. We're in this thing together. Team on me. Great work on that talk. Team on 3. 1, 2, 3. Team. Goodbye.